Hello and welcome back to the Shine Gaming and Esports Center, where we are live with Week 2 of PEC action against Ohio State. Last night saw a win, and Monday we saw a win as well for the Rocket League team. We're up 2-0 on the Buckeyes. But tonight, Valorant saw them win last week, but this week, whole nother animal.
Yeah, this week, a whole nother animal indeed, Carson. Ohio State and Syracuse, right? Both these schools 4-4 overall in the PEC season so far. Both of these teams also coming off of a win on last week. So, if you had any close matches for any of the PEC, this is probably the closest you could possibly get, because Ohio State on that 3-game win streak as well, if we include last season into this season. So, gonna be a very competitive series today.
Yeah, and the fall semester went really bad at the start for Ohio State. Went down 1-3. Brought it all the way back. Won last week as well, so they're on a 3-game winning streak, going back, extending. We're trying to get a win streak started. Had that first win against Kansas, a great step in the right direction, moving the program to 4-4 overall. Ohio State still hasn't played some games, so they're a bit towards the bottom. Still need to reschedule some, or are just going to avoid those games. Unsure, but right now they are 3-3, or 4-3 rather, and I think 4-2 rather. But yeah, they forfeited some games at the start of last season. They didn't really get to show how good they were. So it'll be interesting to see this program here. We've seen this Orange team improve in a major way. We started out 3-1 and we fell down to 4-4. But the important part is we went down to 3-4, back to 4-4, get back in the win column. And I think that's what they're going to try and do tonight. Maybe get a streak going, find that hot step forward.
Yeah, absolutely right. Last week, Syracuse finding that win against Kansas 2-0, right? Both matches relatively close, but in the end, Syracuse was able to pull it out. And, now this week going up against Ohio State. Last week for them, they played Oklahoma, and I believe they won on a 2-0. So, both these teams coming off of that hot streak, that 2-0 victory here. So, when it comes down to it, both of these teams, we talked about it kind of all week, right, with a lot of our teams. I mean, last night, right, Syracuse, Overwatch, looking to take that win over Ohio State, and we did. But, tonight as well, right, Syracuse looking to really solidify themselves as sort of the better overall varsity program here. And, we were talking about it just before broadcast started. Valorant taking this would take it over Ohio State. And as Ohio State, one of those higher level teams in the PEC right now, aside from Boise State and Michigan State. And, for Syracuse to say, look, Ohio State, we know you're there. We know you're like number 3, number 4 right now. We want to take that spot from you overall, is really what Syracuse as a program is looking for, but especially Valorant, because that, I believe, would make them 5-4, correct?
Yeah, it would get them back in the above 500 win column. The round differential's at -1 right now. Basically a true 500 team.
Yeah.
Just lost one more than you won. But it's going to be really hard. In that the problem here is you're entering a team with a hot streak than you. Going into them right now is a very tough thing to do. They are playing their best Valorant at this point, and it's going to come down to how do you play this? How do you build off last week? You won 13-10 both times. When you went up against Boise State, we took it the same scores, but we were the one losing, 13-10 both times. You can compete with these high-level teams. You can go against the Michigan States and the Boise States of the world just in terms of table placement. And the Syracuse Orange team has struggled and against teams that maybe they should have beaten, but they can win, and they're hoping to show it here tonight, and a win would put us in the win column as a program for the first time this semester. Week 1 obviously was a 3-1 loss to Kansas, our only win coming from this Valorant team. So they'll hope to stay undefeated in the spring semester. But the biggest thing here I think is just going to be building off last week.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what Ohio State is going to come in and play tonight. But we did see what Syracuse played last week. One of that, I was talking to you. Between the Kansas and the Syracuse, right? Kansas running that Tejo with the deadlock, and Syracuse going with the Tejo and the Vice. So, I made some opinions on that last week, right? When it came down to it, I believe that deadlock is a lot stronger, right? With that Tejo having the ability to play off of that Sentinel ability, play off of that Sentinel cooldown, and really trap your opponents into that Tejo util, right? Into the salvos and into those strikes to where they really can't get out, right? And also with that deadlock, you have so much capability to just stun your opponents. Vice, yeah, you have some, but she really more looks for that overall point contest, while deadlock can be really individualized and secure that kill for a team.
Yeah, and Teo has just so much more damage that you can do. And I think the biggest part for the Orange is I think if you had picked Teo there, yes, of course, but the Raze pick was super big.
Absolutely, yeah.
Our duelists just played our duelists better. Duelists are a bit of a weird scenario because they're pretty equal right now, and you can play a lot of Reyna. You'll see a lot of Raze just for the ultimate, especially being a massive edge. You saw that in that game on that 3-point map. It's going to be interesting to see what maps we ban, what maps we pick, because Syracuse was able to play some okay defense against Kansas last week in that 3-point map, and less so actually on the 2-point map.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we saw that. So seeing what these bands are going to look like and that map that's going to come out is going to be rather interesting. I'm sure if you're Syracuse, right, you might still be looking for that Lotus, maybe the Bind again, right? Something you're comfortable on. Last semester we saw a lot of Ascent, right? So Syracuse comfortable on some maps a little bit more than others. So keeping that in mind when they go into it. And making those bands accordingly, right? But one also thing that I'm curious to see is, right, what is Ohio State going to run out on, right? Oklahoma, they went up against last week, and
basically a mirror comp, other than the vice mentioned,
right. And another thing that Kansas ran, they ran that typical APAC region double duelist, right? Something very, very powerful, very punishing composition, very aggressive composition, but also very easy to sort of domino and fall over, right? If you just take advantage of that cooldown, the cooldown usage from your opponent, you can really shut them down fast. So I'm curious to see what Ohio State's going to do here. Probably more typically, we're going to see that mirror both these teams, reaching where they are right now because they know this meta. They play it more. I don't want to say normal because they're played it more North American and European styled rather than that APAC style double duelist, which has just been a market for the APAC region since Valorant's been out. So double duelist very powerful, but just in terms of the meta, right, that running that double sentinel, running that double initiator, something I'm pretty sure we'll see both these teams running out, which is going to make it very competitive.
Yeah, and it's very much up to the players at this point.
Absolutely,
Maybe if you're going into this and going, I don't really want to play. I knew last week Kansas was not going to play a traditional sense, but I don't really want to play 2 Sentinels this week. I think 2 Duelists is our best option because that aggression and that can come in a massive way.
Absolutely.
I mean, that 3-point map, I'm surprised Kansas, or the three objective map, Lotus, I don't think Kansas could do much of anything because they weren't aggressive enough with what they had. They had the ability to take space. They had the ability to go out there and win with those abilities. But the problem was Syracuse just felt better. They were hitting their shots more consistently. And the only real time Kansas would go on a hot streak, get 4 rounds in a row, is when Syracuse wasn't able to hit their shots. Maybe we weren't positioning right on the other side. But a lot of it comes down to aim with Valorant.
Yep.
And
Precise
the Orange
gunplay.
had really, really good ability usage.
Yeah,
they played it very well. They just did it right, and you got down to it. When you really got down to it, it came down to when Syracuse was hitting their shots, they were beating the Jayhawks 100% of the time.
Yeah, exactly, right. And one thing also that, Syracuse, we mentioned it last week, it was sort of something they had to be aware of last semester too, when we saw it sort of slip between the cracks a couple times last week too. Those trades, right? Once again, like I said, they were getting better overall. Syracuse, right? This winter break, this sort of midterm, if you will, right? Able to really make massive strides. All of our teams, right? I mean, Ohio State losing in Rocket League, and then Syracuse with Overwatch last night, and then Valorant with last week in Kansas. I mean, all of these rosters making very, very big, very massive improvements in their team and in their gameplay. And so we've seen that. We'll probably see that again tonight. And one of the things that I was always harping on last semester was we have to find those trades. We cannot be letting our opponent get 1, 2, or 3 kills without them dying as well, right? And Syracuse got better, but I want to see them really hammer down, really polish that trading so that you don't run into a 2-for-1.
Yeah, and sometimes that comes down to positioning. You want to maybe you go back to the drawing board again and again and again, just trying to figure out what works and where do we want to stand. What do we want to do, I guess, is kind of the best thing that the Orange are going to look at it. And now just what's the right thing to do? Where are we going to play? What maps are we going to choose? And we'll get those picks shortly. But I think the biggest thing here is how well the Orange did on Lotus last week.
Absolutely, right? I mean, that is something to definitely think through when you are going through these pick bands. If you're Ohio State, right, on your band side, and if you're Syracuse on your pick side, right, how well that Lotus performance was, right? Obviously, that A defense, something that Kansas just couldn't find their way through, just a brick wall of defense coming from Syracuse there. Obviously, 3 points. They had to overcommit onto a site, right? They kind of just had to guess which site Kansas was going to have to go onto. So you're going to have to see here.
I'm getting word. Game 1 is Lotus. So
okay,
we'll still go back right there. See kind of what we can do again there. And the defense really needs to improve for the Orange. I think Kansas did not do a good enough job exploiting that. We saw them struggle initially with not having enough defenders at C specifically, but we'll have to see how they play it here. Pun intended, I suppose. But just going to be a lot of, I think, rotating.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the big point is obviously you have so much space to cover on the back end. You all have to go through CT. If Kansas can, if the Ohio State can get through that B site like Kansas did not, I think it's entirely over for the Orange. And they have to know that. If they went back and they looked at that VOD, they knew how weak they were in that initial tunnel area. Close quarters, they could not beat the Jayhawks. And I think I'd like to see a massive improvement this week. And honestly, I think they could do that in any sort of way. Like I said, it's about hitting their shots, and when they were hitting their shots, they were rolling over the Jayhawks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Syracuse, right? A very mechanical team, right? I mean, when we see them, when they're on their game, they're on their game. I mean, they are getting 1, 2, 3 picks apiece. Players like Pretz, players like Jono last week as well, right? Finding incredible picks last week, just one after another, especially in those thrifty rounds or those pistol rounds. Very, very good job overall. So, having those players on their ball today, able to find those shots is exactly what Syracuse needs. And then you top that with the team play of this roster, and I mean, Syracuse could take this very easily, but I can't harp this enough. You cannot let overconfidence play into the point, right? You are going up against a team that is basically dead even with you.
Yeah, it's a very rare thing to see in this kind of league too.
Yeah.
Both teams are looking back on a win streak.
Yep.
Both teams are 4-4. The only opposite was that the Ohio State team started 1-3. We started 3-1, and it went the opposite ways entirely. Now we're both back at 4-4. They have a +1 round differential. We have a -1 round one differential. It's tough and very confusing kind of when you go look at these teams because they're so differently built, but they are in the same spot relatively. Yeah. And you have matchups that are good for you. Syracuse worked well against Boise State with that technical play. Those abilities worked well. And when they hit their shots, they ran it up against that Stampede over there, but they lost that game 2-0. And that's one of those big things is how well you played against a team. No matter what the score sheet says, no matter if it's 13-6, 13-11, and 14-12 or whatever that one last game that was 43-40 that in overtime game that was
long.
Wow,
very long.
Last summer, goodness, longest game I probably I would quit. Anyway,
I mean to touch on that though, right? I mean with these two teams being very very competitive, very very even with each other, this may be the night that we see 3 games, right? And that is, I mean, I'm not going to predict the 3-game series. Obviously, 2-0 for Syracuse. That'd be great to see. But, when you have two teams so competitive, so close together in skill, you have the situation of where you go the distance. Last night, 5 games for Overwatch. Tonight, we potentially get all 3, right? And the biggest thing to think about there is you have to stay locked in the whole way through. There is so much gameplay. And when you're going, to game 3, your scoreline is probably looking no lower than a 13-8 every game, right? That's a lot of rounds to play. That's 21 rounds apiece. That's by the time you get to game 3, that's already 42 rounds you've played, right? I mean, it gets very, very mentally taxing, and you have to stay locked in. And in a game like Valorant, where you're holding pixel peaks, you cannot let that mental sway. Yeah,
and I talk about 2 forms of momentum in Valorant. Money momentum and mental momentum.
Yep.
When you start getting rolled, both of those go the wrong way. It goes very bad very quick. You can't use the guns you want to play with. You can't play the game how you intend to play it, and you're basically left at the mercy of the other team, having better machinery, having better equipment, just having the abilities over you, and you can't do anything about it other than go win an uphill fight.
Yep.
And that's going to be a very tough situation for the Orange. If you find yourself down 4-0 like they did against Kansas, or up 4-0 and then losing that, going back to 4-4.
Yeah.
They responded well to that, and that's going to come down to, can you keep your mental? And this Orange team did a great job against Kansas. That game was very streak heavy, if you remember. We saw a team win 4, the other team win 4, or one team win 7, the other team win 7, all the way back up to 10, and then they traded rounds until somebody won that game. And it comes down to economy for a lot of it to keep those streaks going and to crush the mental of the other team. And they're going to hope to roll the Buckeyes early so they can get a better feel of what they're doing, know what they're doing. And if you're going into this with too much overconfidence, it's going to happen to you, and you are not going to feel good by round 5.
Yeah, mental momentum and money momentum, M&M and M&M, just like that. I mean, it's a lot of M's, but it's true, right? I mean, especially in economy. I want to talk about that specifically. When it comes down to the economy of Valorant, right? When it comes down to those thrifty buys compared to those full buys or those half buys, especially with those regenerative shields, those are cheaper than those heavy shields, right?
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, right? So they can be bought on these thrifty rounds, and you can sort of play aggressive, back up, kite, go back in, especially if you're on that defensive side, right? Be a little aggressive, come back, go forward, right? When you are in that situation of those thrifty buys, and we saw some massive plays last week from Syracuse, right? They were on the thrifty buy, they were on that low buy, and they immediately turned it around, right? That money momentum, that economy back in their favor. And not only that, but they have to buy guns that next round because they were able to steal them from Kansas, right? Money momentum is a very, very big thing in Valorant. That 3 or 4 round streak, and now you're backing off, right? You win another 4, and then your team is low again. You have to be cautious of that.
Yeah, and it all comes down to just where you're playing at and where you are mentally, and I think it's going to come down to that really tonight. These teams I cannot stress enough, are so close. They play the game very differently.
Yep.
But, I mean, tonight I'm going to be curious to see those comps because when you're playing an even team, you're even Steven, you want to go exactly with the Steven you want, your agent. And whether it's you're going to see, I don't know who you're going to see, honestly. I was going to put a prediction down, but I just don't.
I think we'll see that
same
Teo
thing
Vice
last week.
again.
Same thing as last week, Teo Vice, yeah. But
That is one thing to consider, though, right? I mean, when your teams are so even against each other, mirror compositions, right? It's a big thing in Overwatch. When it comes down to the mirror, it's who just plays the comp better, who has the better mechanics, right? And that can be very scary, right? Because when it comes down to it, who has the better mechanics, who has the better team play? You find that if you're losing in the mirror, it can get scary, right? Because what do you have to change here? From the side of Syracuse on the defense, gonna see already a change-up. We're gonna see the breach come in. We didn't see that breach last time. We saw the Sky, I believe. Once again, that Vice and that Tejo. The Deadlock potentially hovered, and the Omen. On the side of Ohio State, though, very, very different composition. Clove and Killjoy already locked in for this team. Fade and Breach hovered as well. I'm curious to see if they're going to throw a duelist in or no. Doubles. Okay, there's the duelist, a Neon. Very, very interesting composition for Ohio State here.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. This is really interesting. This is one common agent between the two teams here. This is going to be a little bit more than technical skill. This is going to come down to positioning and abilities in a massive way, more than most games do. Those breaches are the only two that are the same. But
yeah, I mean, I like this, though, right? Because now you're not debating it down to who's better in the mirror. It's a matter of how you play your composition, right? And, I mean, obviously, with Syracuse, one thing, I'm already going to say it right now, the Deadlock is in. I love that so much more than what we saw last week. We're going to find that value with that Deadlock on that Tejo as well. The Breach making a different change as well. Going to make it a little bit better, right? On the side of Ohio State, though, very, very different composition here, right? Running with this solo Sentinel, right, on that Killjoy, having the ability to lock down that site really easy. 3 sites, though, to keep in mind, right? But this double initiator, this Fade and this Breach is going to put a lot of pressure onto that attacking side, which they are on first. And then the Clove and the Neon, right? So you're not really focusing on a hard controller, more on that duelisty type of vibe. So not quite APAC, not quite double duelist, but you're basically as close as you can get.
it's the best way I can describe it is it's like the wishbone offense. You only see Army use it in collegiate play. This is kind of an older comp setup here.
Yeah.
Now, you're seeing this in different metas previously, but not as much anymore. Deadlock, they're throwing the ult out, or the ult, no. The E. We're not that point yet, but going to be just interesting to see where, honestly, where we set up on that other end. Very spread out again for the orange.
Yeah, I mean, already you're seeing just some more patient play coming out from Ohio State. They're not going too crazy yet, but this is one of the things we have to be aware of, right? This double initiator, this breach and this fade. The second they want to engage, they're going to go fast, right? And Syracuse has to be prepared. The good thing is that Deadlock and that breach, a little bit of scouting potentially came in. They're going to be able to shut down a fast engage if they choose to do that. Spotting will happen, though, from the Omen. Won't be able to find the pick. The trade isn't there as Hamburger will find one.
Going to be just down, unfortunately, there as you head towards B site. Just taking a look on board here. You'll see that's a great flash by Hayabusa. This goes down instantaneously, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing just a little bit of pressure over here on this C site. The plant will go down for the side of Ohio State. Going to start off strong here. And now Syracuse needs to find their way back into this matchup. And obviously on the flank, but we can't hit a shot!
There's one, right, trying to get the gritty on that right side. Maintains the flash, goes down, gets one more with the ghost. This is a Panini press here. Jonah with 3. What a good start from them. Really did not get that Metal Gear Solid strat down pat, and the orange are able to take it.
Yeah, just like that, a very good job, and Syracuse will find that first defuse. Jonah, a beautiful flank. Got our heart rates up a little bit there as they weren't able to find the shot, but eventually they were able to get it and find that round. Syracuse already up 1 in this series, but I do want to sort of just bring this to everyone's attention, right? Notice at how, Ohio State, they're able to play slow here, and when they want to engage, they can. Running that double initiator, that fade, and that breach gives them so much util, so much value in being able to just walk on whatever site they want to and kite back when they want to as well, right? They can just look for a different site. 3 sites, a lot to play with here, and Ohio State can play for that advantage, but Syracuse, this is the downside, right? You're running that solo Sentinel for Ohio State. If that Sentinel cannot find the flank, Syracuse may find tremendous value.
Yeah, and look at it like this. These important rounds. Oh my goodness. Right off the rip, we have massive aggression from the Buckeyes. Dez gets Owen, still pushing now on that B site. On board, just trying to get anything that they can. Oh no, Hamburger. Hamburger just crushes Pretz with the ability. Hayabusa gets Dapper Waldy there.
Yeah, great way. You know, couple trades on either side for Ohio State and Syracuse there, right? A lot of util was spent, especially from this breach on Grifty from Ohio State. So now you're really only playing for this fade at the moment. Syracuse looking a little bit more comfortable at the moment, right? They're just going to hold back, wait for this Clove to use their utility. I mean, you still see how calm Syracuse is playing, right? They're not going too aggressive, right? They're waiting for Ohio State to come in because they know that they have the util that is going to punish them if they get too aggressive here.
Yeah, Dapper Waldy, the only one down on the Ohio State side, trying to just get that smoke right off. See if we can just sit right here and not quite sure where we're going if I'm Ohio State, honestly. B site, they missed Neon entirely.
30 seconds
Yeah, a little
left.
scary there, though. 30 seconds. We're going to see a fast rotate come in from Ohio State. We're going to see the fade run down onto B, but over on the A site is going to be where Ohio State looks to go for their plant here. Syracuse needs to make a very long rotate now to get over to this site. Going to be a little bit slower as they don't want to let Ohio State know where they're going. The
10
one way is going to
seconds
come
left.
in, going to prevent a little bit of a peek coming in from
Planted.
Syracuse. Now they need to look for some sort of recontest or replant here as Dez is really low on this Neon.
Yeah, Stomp right here, just waiting for the smoke to die down, waiting for team to get into position. They're going for that Panini press play again from two different angles. Dez down low, doesn't know how low they are. Through the wall up top, we've got another sandwich between two players. Dez gets Jono despite being at low health, even half that health remaining. Still trying to get one more is Stomp. Back to gets two! Two for Stomp.
Stomp, a beautiful couple picks here. Going to have to go for this defuse as it's getting closer. Will be taken out by Knight, and even 1-1 on a thrifty buy for Ohio State. Very, very good for them to come back into this series here. I mean, this is what we expected to see, right? A very competitive, very back-and-forth series, and I mean, we've seen that, right? Now Ohio State going to be able to buy a little bit more aggressive if they so choose, right? A couple Vandals popping out here. Syracuse, full thrifty buy, right? Sheriffs, Classics, right? Going to be that Sentinel and that Initiator, Hayabusa, and Stomp looking for that util over that gun advantage, and we're back in that sort of carousel roundabout circle here, right? 1-1 as Syracuse. They may maybe look for something a little bit different here, right? Play a little bit more aggressive, which we are seeing from the Vice.
Yeah, that's a bit of an understatement here. Dez up top just annihilates Hayabusa with better weapons. A very B-heavy defense from the Orange.
Yep. And now we're going to see here Syracuse looking to just play a little bit patient, right? You're already down one. You're down that Sentinel. Can't find the shot, though, holding a little bit too close to the wall. Dapper Waldy has a nice 90-degree flick and will take down Syracuse. Two members fall here. Ohio State still looking for this now. Haven't planted yet, but are starting to just walk on to C site. Once again, keep in mind this thrifty buy. The flank stopped by Hamburger, 742. And now Ohio State, the decay is there as we are going to see a peek comes in, but Owen's able to find one.
It's one for Owen. Owen versus the world here as Stomp goes down, but Knight able to get Owen in that C end. This is not what you want to see right now if you're the Orange. You're forced to play thrifty. You're going to have money now to not full buy, but get pretty close. Maybe use the regen shield, which is the pretty new feature for Valorant that I really like. I think it provides kind of a different element to the game where now you can play and back off for a second, and it really makes getting off point so much more worth it. It allows you to play in a more defensive manner and retreat rather than getting as much value as you can and dying on point.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that Syracuse needs to play for, right, is look for something early, but if you can't find it, back up, right? We've seen some very aggressive plays for these early picks, and it's been punishing for Syracuse just like that. Owen is going to fall again here.
Yeah, Dez just got Owen kind of wrong there. Just a gunfight there that just did not go the way of the Orange. As just a bit stuck in the corner, not where you want to be as Des runs over Pretz. Grifty gets stomped out there. Now it's a 5-on-2 with the Orange rotating very slowly. Is Jono going to go the back route here towards the B site, which it looks like Ohio State's going to go towards. I think Jono's about to just meet the entire Ohio State roster in the wrong place.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, as Ohio State's going to get this plant down, now going to have a full site to defend. I mean, we see Hayabusa over on the A site here, and it's really just a 2v5. I mean, Ohio State in a great spot for this defense, and because it's such a small site, this is where the Killjoy comes into play, right? Such a good Sentinel to play on such tiny sites here, and I mean, we're going to see a couple angles being held. Syracuse, they're going to be broke again next round, so they may just look to save here. They may not want to contest this, right? They know they're low on money. They'd have to go on a thrifty again. They did force the buy here, and, you know, that's one of the scary things here. Now, Ohio State, we did see it earlier, right, with that breach and that fade combo, right, as we do see it looks like it's going to be a save. You know, we saw flash after flash into dog, as well as the...
Jono's going to still get into a gunfight here and go down despite trying to save. Was looking for a pick, maybe a bit too advantageous. Now you have one player with a gun, and the other three are going to have to basically go thrifty. You do not want to force this, even with a player that does have a full kit.
Yeah, you don't. And that's the thing, right? And this is the strength that Ohio State has with this breach and fade, right? I mean, we saw it very early on. Owen did fall. We did miss that one. But when it came into that next pick, right, when it came into that, right, like, we just ended up seeing such fast util coming in from those initiators, and it's so hard to defend, right? And then on top of the neon stun, very well played coming out from Ohio State. Syracuse still looking to find that value, still able to just try to find what they can do, as Ohio State's going to look for a little bit of a fast approach here on the B site.
Yeah, Jono just... Again, aggressive on that peak on the defensive side at C. Still nobody at C. The Orange have just kind of guessed wrong, unfortunately, here with 3 towards that A site. But B site pretty well defended if they can get it done here. See the grenade there from Jono, who's just looking to buy time, trying to prevent as much as they can. Here comes the stun, though, followed by Breach. It is every util down as Hayabusa goes down. Dez just clobbers Jono from an angle they don't see. Smoke really did not help them out there. Stomp is able to get one with the help of their teammate there. Is, oh no, peeks into the Killjoy, and they just have set this up perfectly. Ohio State really doing a good job here.
Yeah, I mean, this is the strength of this composition, right? Something we haven't quite seen is when it comes down to this, right? You have one initiator play with your neon, right? Then you have your other initiator, playing with your clove, right? Kind of like that. Yes, technically controller, but you know, Clove is as much as a controller as Chambers as much as a Sentinel, right? They are very much a duelist-oriented, and you have one of your initiators play with that Clove, and you can kind of just two-man rush and look for that pinch, which we've seen before. It's been very, very powerful. Ohio State's been capitalizing on it, and Syracuse just can't find these trades because they're happening so fast.
Yeah, and the Orange are just going to look to try and put it together here. And that's a good step forward. Pretz gets Dez, Pretz gets Nile. That's 2 instantaneously as Owen gets one more. Owen gets 2 in the smoke, randomly shooting. What a good start for the Orange, and this is the kind of momentum you need.
The drone's going to go in, does spot the Killjoy. Great way for Syracuse on the flank now. Will be taken down, and Syracuse a flawless, nice round taken for them, and very much needed, I might add. And you know, now Syracuse a little bit more comfortable on the money, right? They're going to have enough for the next round, and Ohio State don't even need to talk about their money momentum. They're fine for the next couple rounds here. But you know, for Syracuse, right, very well played. You cannot let Ohio State play the tempo that they want to play at, right? And I think that's going to be the hardest thing for Syracuse here. And you know, with your composition, you kind of want to wait a little bit more, right, for your opponent. But I mean, with how Ohio State is playing right now, if you wait for them, they're going to just double pinch on that initiator duelist, and you are going to be taken down very fast, right? And we've seen that already happen to Syracuse, so I think Syracuse needs to play maybe a little bit more aggressive or just a little bit further back.
Yeah, and you're seeing the differentiating type of play here, and I was going to say Ohio State's been really aggressive. Now all of them are crouching and slowly creeping around, seeing what they can hear. What they typically do is hear someone, and go very aggressive. They've chosen the right site, essentially, for what their plan is here, because there's nobody on A except Omen comes in with the ult. Going for the ult initially, we have 2 back on A, and Ohio State going to back up as Pretz gets Dapper Waldy, who's been holding that B site, just taking it over while there was no orange there for the Buckeyes. It's a good step in the right direction as Ohio State looks to clinch in on B.
Yeah, with this now, Syracuse just playing a little bit further back, a little bit more safe, right? Waiting for Ohio State to pick that site, right? You don't want to overinvest here. They have a lot more util that they can use. You don't want to fully overinvest on these sites. A couple smokes to just prevent the Ohio State. Maybe look for a bait on some of that initiator utility. And right now, Syracuse playing a little bit slow, playing a little bit further back, being patient, playing that time, right? 35 seconds here, 4 seconds needed to plant the spike. So Syracuse playing a little bit more of a patient game, and I'm not opposed to this, right? Giving them the ability to really take a second, take a breath, and engage when they need to here.
Yeah, and you have to just look at it now. Ohio State just got rid of their time. They have 20 seconds. Really aggressive, but an amazing... Oh, that was just amazing. Another captured target there. They are just putting it in the right direction. Ohio State has to push now, or they're just going to save.
Oh, that's the spike, too, I think.
That is spike. Ohio State's just going to back off here. They're not going to even try.
greatly well played there coming out from Syracuse. The deadlock with a beautiful play there. Solo defending that site basically there. Jono, beautifully well played coming out from them, right? We see immediately throws in the net, is able to capture some targets, throws in the ult, and then just for safe measures will throw down that wall so the team cannot save them from the cotton candy of death. And just like that, Syracuse not only gets the kill, not only gets a spike, but gets the round and will put themselves back in this 3-4.
That's money momentum instantaneously for the Orange, but you saw Ohio State just, we only have 3 players. Like, there's no point in going in there with 5 seconds remaining and trying to grab the spike and put down a miracle plant, which I don't even think they would have the time to do, just realistically. But they're going to be pushing the other side now. Going back to that aggressive strategy we saw earlier, is that that passive staying back really did not pay off, but the Orange, they can put it right here, will put the right foot forward. Owen gets one more. Now we're talking about the Orange hitting their shots. This is exactly what we've been waiting for, just trying to get that technical skill level down, getting warmed up.
Yeah, and I do like how Syracuse is playing this, right? They're playing in these sort of these angles that you expect people to rotate back from sometimes, right? And we're seeing that the net goes in. I don't believe it caught anyone, but now Jono, I mean, look at this, playing in the smoke. A very aggressive play, but it might play off.
Yeah, just trying to see there. Jono going back up top, has the teammate behind to breach to support Owen, putting a smoke down as well. He gets stunned through the wall. Trying to move the drone out here with Tejo is, ooh, that's going to be locking him in that situation there. Right there, that's B. That's everybody's on. Almost the entirety Buckeyes team is on B. Orange can't do anything there. Wow. Everyone rotated off. They're all in the same corridor together. I'll see what they can do here. Grifty planting for the Buckeyes. Hayabusa gets one, and here comes the aggressive push. Gritzy gets one more. Owen gets one more, and Hamburger. Well done.
Oh!
Cooks there as Knight just lines him up and knocks him down. Strike for the Buckeyes.
I mean, Syracuse was starting off so well there, right? You saw one playing back on the smoke, using the information from that mini-map for their team, but no one looked up at Knight. No one looked up at Knight, and just like that, 3 were able to be found there. I believe that's going to be a timeout on the side of Syracuse as they now go down 2 rounds here. And, I mean, I agree with this, right? I mean, you see some of these players taking a drink of water, right? It's a lot of comms going through, right? And you know, if you are Syracuse in this moment, right, you're not doing bad, right? Overall, right, you're starting to bring yourself back, but this is a game where it's coming down to just adaptation. You're not now mirroring compositions, which is one thing we were talking about. If it's a mirror, it's just who plays it better, right? And sometimes that can get a little boring, right? When you have these very, very different compositions and very, very different play styles, it's a matter of who can adapt the most, right? Who knows their composition the best? Because typically, right, on this composition, you have a good medium, aggressive versus passive state for the side of Syracuse, but for the most part, you're just waiting for the most part. You played a little bit more passive, but notice that they've really had to adapt to this because Ohio State's composition thrives on this aggressive sort of 2-2 play style, and Syracuse either needs to play very far back and bait a lot of util, or they got to be very aggressive, and that is something that is just crazy for the adaptation and really to be expected between 2 teams this close.
Yeah, and it's a guessing game because Ohio State played aggressive there. The Orange played back, didn't work out. I mean, you all got stuck in the smallest corridor on the map and just got knocked over like a bunch of bowling pins. Somebody shot first, and those shots connected, and it was kind of over. There wasn't much you could do in that situation, and that's tough. Can't really control that. But Brett seeing, now we're going to go the other side of the coin here. Very, very aggressive. Some damage from both teams to both sides. Doing there, Pretz gets one more through the smoke. Jono looking towards it all. Has got a lot of people close as Jono knocks the head off Hamburger. Well done.
Very well played smoke coming in there. I don't believe Clove Knight will use the ultimate and will try to get out. That is going to be a little bit of damage though if Knight just gets any, but Pretz will take them down. The trade is there. However, Ohio State now looking even against this roster. Sorry, excuse me, 1 up against Syracuse's roster at the moment here. Vice and I believe Owen on Omen still alive here. They have the util here. They have a paranoia to use, but you don't want to give too much to Ohio State here, right? This Clove, because of where they died, going to be able to use some smokes on that death. Very, very good for them. Hayabusa and Owen both peeking the same angle here. Not much util here, though, other than a couple flashes.
Yeah, just the E ability for Omen, which is not going to help, or rather, just the C and Q ability for Omen, who has a full section here, and it's going to be a smoke.
Okay.
It's going to throw them off a little bit because it's going to look like it's coming from the other angle, but Dapper Waldy is anything but fooled. They get the 3K, the Yahtzee, if you are a COD fan. And the Orange go down 6-3, which is not what you had hoped after that timeout. This is a very tough situation. You're not going to be thrifty just yet, but if you lose here, you're going to be going into halftime down quite a bit more than 6-3.
Yeah, and you know, I'm looking at this here. The smoke, it did stop that Killjoy bot from being able to see the team, right? Very good smoke, but you know, unfortunately, right, you're going up against this team, against these players that are just so intelligent. They know these plays, right? And so either they knew you were going to peek that corner or they knew you were going to peek from the smoke. Very small choke to look at if you are aiming that, especially for 3 members of Ohio State. Did that very well. Location revealed immediately. Syracuse not going to push forward. They don't want to play that very chaotic fight again, and they're going to back up.
They nearly won last time, but that haunt just kind of stifles their aggression.
Yep.
It just basically is like, oh, that player is right there. Don't really want to push into that. It'll be going very bad, but you're seeing a double push here. Split from A to B, and now it's going to go straight to B as Dez catches Pretz in that corridor like we mentioned earlier. Owen still holding B by themselves, has about 5 Buckeyes to beat, and I think very intelligently backs off. That is not going to be a fight you want to take.
Yeah, 3 just util used, double initiator, and a little bit from the Clove. A flash is going to come out, though, as Syracuse is going to look for something. Util is there. There is a couple abilities for this breach, and I want to see some of this util come out from Stomp here, really prevent any sort of re-engage. We are going to see the great Vice ultimate could come out, and this could end it. It's going to get rid of all of that primary weapons. However, this Killjoy, someone needs to worry about this or just kill the rest of the Buckeyes, and Syracuse will start to bring themselves back. 2-round deficit, but they're not going to be on a thrifty.
The entire team detained there, but they just played it on the clock. Said, okay, round's ending in actually 15 seconds, not 25 there. So that was the right way to play that. They, again, this Ohio State team is very coordinated. We can see that. We don't need. If you look at the minimap, you notice how they're all moving together. One's back. They go, suddenly they push all into B. They have a perfect panini press, you could call it, right on that B side. And that was a great push from Ohio State, but intelligently, Omen moves back off site, waits for his team to come back, uses the util together with the team. And when that Killjoy ult comes down and the Vice ult comes down, you're basically playing a game of they don't have any primary weapons. Let's go out there and just run them over because that Killjoy ult can't stop us all.
Yeah, and I like this switch up here, right? Switching the Sentinels on those sites. This time you have Jono on the Deadlock on A and Hayabusa on that Vice on C. So a little bit of a switch up here. Gonna be a little bit more of a different playstyle coming in from Ohio State to have to adapt to that, and immediately Jono, right? All that util that had to be used to attack on A site for Ohio State, completely wasted, right? One wall, and immediately that's at least $2,000 of util completely wasted. And now Syracuse knows that there might be an attack over here on this A site. Going to be a little bit patient, right? But Ohio State's been doing a very good job on this split and going to go just a little bit closer now, as now Ohio State going to play a little bit slower.
Yeah, a triple split push here, and they're going to, I guess, kind of decide where they're going to go, take a look at everything. It's a bit of a scouting mission. And I'm not quite sure if they've decided on anything but A. There's not really anything you can do with where your team is at, but the Orange have the proper rotation. It's a 3-on-4 towards that site. But on C, Hayabusa knows. Dapper Waldy doesn't. I think that's enough noise to push Dapper Waldy away, but I think now we're going to see the entire Ohio State team comes towards C. This is not good for Hayabusa, who will have an opportunity here to do something great, but it's 5-on-1. We'll see if the util comes out in time. Omen's going to assist. When the Neon runs through the door, goes down. This Hayabusa can't do much. Grifty gets them, but Stomp gets one more. Util going the other way. They have to push forward. Forced by the breach ult. Stomp, amazing, amazing util usage there.
Yeah, now if you're Syracuse, right, don't get greedy. Just play that time. 4 seconds is all they need to plant that spike, and it's not going to happen here as they're going to start. You can pressure this now. Go for it, and we are going to see Teo util is in, and just like that, Syracuse will be able to find this round. They're going to go for the defuse, and now only 1-round deficit here. Ohio State, I believe, going to be on that thrifty next round in terms of economy, and Syracuse found that adaptation, found that way to play, and is now forcing Ohio State. Now it's your turn to find that adaptation here, but, you know, 12 rounds and a half, Syracuse wants to go even going on to their attacking side.
And look, that all starts with the false star Owen there. That smoke completely puts Hayabusa in a position to get the Neon, get the trade at the very least. Breach is not looking the right way. Stomp comes around and just annihilates them. And you have that usage from Stomp. What a round from the Orange. That is how you respond when you don't have the right players in the right spots, and it's a battle of positioning. And if you can make more out of your position, heck, I mean, that's going to work out every time.
Yeah, exactly, you know, and here we go. Here is Owen going to throw an early smoke out, it looks like, over on the C side, I believe, is where that ended up landing, or A side, excuse me. And Owen going to just walk out of the smoke, and Knight's going to be able to find them, but now Jono going to look to just stall this site out a little bit more as the rest of Syracuse, right? 3 members on C. We're going to see Pretz start to rotate back over to B, right? Good rotates coming out from Syracuse. We haven't talked about it much, but I really do like them, right? They're not over-investing. They're not over-committing on some of these sites. They're being patient because they know Ohio State. They like to do last-minute full-team rotates.
Yeah, you're watching that right now. Not quite last minute. Still a minute remaining as 3 go over to the right side. And they're going to make the smart, intelligent decision here to go to A. Maybe they didn't hear anything, but Hayabusa maybe has a spidey sense there, but decides against it. Because Tejo can actually be the one heading towards A, as they haven't heard enough or don't know enough about that site. It's a bit of a scouting mission because you know C, they're not pushing anymore. B, you can hear them probably at this point if they've been walking by. But Tejo.
Yeah, and now, right, they're looking here, and Ohio State, right, I mean, look at where the spike is, right? They're playing to figure out which site they want to go to, and now they've picked it up. They've baited some of those members over onto A site. It looks like we're going to see a fast push now over onto C after they fully made a lot of the members of Syracuse walk over, but Jono still on this site, playing further back though. Rolling Thunder going to be used from Ohio State. Won't be able to find anyone, but will give them the opening to get onto the site and look for this plant. I like the way Jono is playing though, backing up, waiting for the rest of Syracuse to come in here, as I believe no one is on the flank, so this will be just all the members of Syracuse going in from the same choke as Pretz falls early.
Yeah, Pretz went for the flank, unfortunately, and Dapper Wally is just playing that position real well. But here comes the fade alt here. Oh, this is a bad section here. Neon runs right in. It gets Jono and Stomp instantaneously. And Hayabusa, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're the last one remaining here. And, I mean, last round as well as just some beautifully well-played execution coming in from the side of Syracuse, Ohio State. And that will be the sides switching for these teams here. I will say for Ohio State, right, very, very strong attacking sided composition here, so they're gonna have a good retake though, right? With this double initiator, they have a very strong retake. Syracuse though on the attacking side, their composition a lot more rounded for the attack, but we'll have to see what happens here. Ohio State gonna need to make some adaptations. Syracuse still on that back burner, trying to find their opening to take the lead here.
Yeah, 5-7, not a bad start after being down 6-3 at a point.
Absolutely.
So it's a good comeback in a way to just at least get the last two of the last 3 there. You're really seeing how even matched these teams are. Ohio State makes a decision, and just depending on where the Orange are, it kind of felt like on defense, that was what was going to happen there. One simple play, one simple decision changed the entirety of that matchup, and it comes down to how different you're playing. It's like a true game of basketball. You have none of the same players on either team, and that's really what I like to see esports as, is when it is all entirely different. You're seeing just an aggressive multi-split push, but C ended up being open for the Orange, and they don't have Spike that way as Hamburger gets Jono. Pretz gets one, but Hamburger, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a double meat patty hamburger right there as a 2 pieces found for Ohio State. And I mean, now, right, down 2 rounds, down a couple members. Owen will find one, but 20 HP needs to be safe here, as we are going to see Knight looking aggressive again, going to look for some more if they can. A Paranoia goes in as well as the plant. This could be an opening for Syracuse, but Ohio State still going to be up here 3-on-3.
Advantage here for the Buckeyes, really doing what they can, and just with the aggressive push on the other side. You have multiple angles to take it at. Hayabusa down sight, just trying to do anything they can. This is not great util usage. It hasn't gotten anybody for the term of the Buckeyes. I mean, rather their util usage. Orange there. Splash gets one. Trying to go the other side. Shot down low. Hayabusa gets one. Hamburger gets their 3rd. On the way to the ace. They have 4. Can't get it. Grifty gets one more, but Hamburger with the ace. That's well done.
Hamburger, beautifully well done. A full hamburger made. The lettuce, the tomato, the meat, and the buns on either side. That's all 5. A beautifully well-performed ace from Ohio State. Very well done with that util again. Like I was saying, one thing, you know, Syracuse, they're going to be good on that attacking side, but the thing to really worry about is, yes, Ohio State's comp is strengthened on the attack, but their retake is going to be gruesome with that double initiator.
Yeah, it's kind of a situation for the Orange of how do you play this game? How do you approach this? It's a bit of a situation where you don't really have any way that you can approach that with an advantage unless you have a player advantage. The Orange were tied there, but the Buckeyes just had a bit more together, had something more to play with because they had the extra abilities that could get into fights. And Hamburger also just, I can't describe it, Hamburgled the game there as Dapper Waldy just nails Owen downfield.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see it, right? That's your controller dead immediately. And now Ohio State, you know, they're playing this really well, but that early pick, I mean, that is crucial for Syracuse because now you have no way to really shut down any choke point because of that Omen. That's sort of the plus side with that Clove, right? They have the ability to sort of shut down sites even after they're dead, but once that Omen's dead, that's all that util gone. And just like that, Jono stuck as well as Pretz, and Ohio State is just looking to push forward.
Yeah, really aggressive buy from the Ohio State side, and once you're in round 2, you're comfortable with that. You're going to win that section. If you are evenly matched, you'll have the better guns there, and the Vandal just doing work. Hayabusa on the backside here gets one. Great shot from the revolver. Cox handles one more. Ooh, Dez is going to have an advantage here. Neon can just kind of play Titanfall at certain points, and just on that right side, gets the hit, but can't go down. Grifty finishes off the orange there. 9-5, and is getting a little bit out of hand for the side of Citrus.
Yeah, I mean, you got it. This is, once again, Carson, maybe I can complete a full sentence here, but, you know, adaptation. These teams are so close together, and you're not on a mirror composition. You have to make the changes. You have to make that adaptation to find the value here. Syracuse on this full buy, forcing it. They need to win this if they don't want to be on a thrifty again. Next round, facing 11-5. If you're Syracuse, right, you've been struggling to really find that value. Ohio State has been playing very aggressive. They're playing to this initiator, right? Go back to how you played in round 1, but just be a little bit more careful on that post.
Yeah, one player aggressive here, and the rest conservative on the side of the orange. Pretz trying to get rid of that sniper long, but Killjoy can't do anything, takes some damage, misses the shot through the smoke. And the drone going to scout a little bit today, and the orange will know they have a pretty clear sight. You should see some aggression here, but on the defensive end, here's some aggression. A double peek, wrong timing. That is one of those tough situations where you hear both on the left and right side. You got to just pick one, and wasn't able to finish the one on the left, and just kind of had to sit there. But the orange are able to take sight and get a full section here, but Ohio State full strength retake here. This is not going to look good for the orange if they can't get the initiators down early.
Yeah, Dapper on this flank, but does look like Syracuse is going to look for something. We are going to see Nightmare goes in, Decay and marked on to, I believe, almost all the players for the side of Syracuse here. And once again, a stun coming out from Ohio State, and now they're going to look for something. Owen, though, stops the flank, but doesn't able to find Dez on that attack.
Have to get on the right side here. Neon peeks the wrong way. We're just trading everything. Owen, the last one remaining for the orange, but goes down to the last one for the Buckeyes. They traded right in every sense there, but Hamburger is able to finish off the meal, unfortunately, there. And that's 10-5 Ohio State. And how many hamburger puns can I make?
I mean, we're starting to run out here, you know, Carson. I mean, but you got to keep coming up with them because you have players like Hamburger who are 13-8, but not even to count out Dez, who's 17-10, right? Hamburger, yes, we've been seeing make some of these flashy plays, but Dez, 17-10, finding that 1 or 2 pick almost every single round, doing that job as that duelist. Very well played coming out from everyone on the side of Ohio State. Syracuse, right? You got that post plant down, but now you seriously need to get there, right? Once you're on that site, we've seen it twice now, they're able to get there, right? Maybe don't lose someone early, right, if you can. But once you're on that site, right, secure your flank and immediately look for something early. That's a great way to start.
Bang! Owen just nailed Dez right there with the revolver. And that is how you do it thrifty the right way. It's not a thrifty, but if you were on a thrifty, that's how you would do it the right way. Hamburger gets one more. Just showing up in those clutch moments as Jono gets him with the revolver. Grifty, the last one, blinded, but out of shots in the revolver and can't get it. Hayabusa able to get rid of Grifty, though, in the end. Still an advantage for the orange. It's a 2-1 odd man advantage.
Yeah, it is going to be this Clove here, though, for the side of Ohio State. And that's a lot of util you got to be careful of. That's going to be able to use. And Knight, the player that's been able to find so much value. And there's no trade. So now it's a 1v1 here. The Decay is there. Knight's going to look for something. But Jono's going to put them down. And Syracuse is still here.
That's what we were talking about with the neurons earlier. Just looked the wrong way, unfortunately, and you're guessing at that point. With so much space in this map, you're just looking everywhere, trying to guess at a certain point where you don't know where that last player is. There's 5 angles I could be shot at from, and I'm just trying to see peripheral vision, maybe flick over in time, but the orange have the advantage there on a one-on-one situation without an initiator or with the abilities there. It's just a good start, and you're kind of putting it back together now. You're 10-6, you're down 4. If there's a time to go on a run, it's after a pretty good rolling like that where you came down to last player, but it felt good. It was a very good start. We'll see massive aggression here initially. Big Omen teleport on the right side. Goes down to Dez, unfortunately. Dez gets 2 before they get taken down by Pretz with a headshot. Moving forward, Hayabusa on that flank end again. Gets 1 this time, though. That pick might be important as Hamburger gets Pretz. Aggressive side here. Ohio State now basically on the offense as they intrude into the CT site. Hamburger jumping away. Backtrack, can't get anything there. They just put the Nightmare down.
One
and
bullet.
No bullets. Hamburger gets 1-2. Reloading is Stomp.
I mean, you know, one of the things that started off a little bit rough for is, you know, something that starting to go through the cracks again here, Carson. The trades. 2 for 1 immediately for Ohio State. You cannot be having that. I mean, that is a situation that you cannot be letting happening. That's a lot of ings. Cannot let happen, right? Because that 2 for 1, especially on a composition where basically everyone on that team is so crucial, right? Ohio State, you can take care of one of their initiators, but they still have a lot of utility to go forward and use, right? For Syracuse, you don't particularly have that, right? Now, if you get rid of the Vise or the Deadlock, right, you still have that Sentinel to work with, but for the most part, every member on Syracuse, especially if Owen goes down early. If your controller, if your Omen goes down early in this fight, you've practically lost your entire ability to get onto a site outside of your initiator, which, I mean, yes, Breach is a very powerful initiator, but you can only control one choke point, and then you got to be able to look for those trades as you walk on a point. So it's a lot less flexibility for Syracuse here.
Yeah, see, obviously you have the ability to control that double tunnel there, but it's tough. They can just go the other way.
Yep.
With Breach, you have the ability to, but I think, honestly, if I'm the Orange, I might take a double duelist look next time. They're going to have the initiators. Double initiator also would work. But Vice is not enough to control this map right now without Omen and without Breach. You're basically running two-man offense. Don't have anything you can do about it. Ohio State's just kind of rolling you when you get into those situations where they attack first. If you are not in the advantage positioning-wise, Ohio State seems to be able to win that every single time. And that Columbus team is well coordinated. On the other side there, Canada that shot. Revolver comes around. Knight gets Hayabusa, who is waiting in that B site defending that Orange team as they try and rotate and are basically just hoping they don't peek. Rather, it looks like they might be heading back to A. Creeping on the other side, maybe some distraction from Jono as they head towards C. It'd be pretty bad to lose a player at this point. Turning it out. I feel like I'm watching Rainbow Six Siege, and Jono trying to get a headshot, kind of just taking space up in a way as Hamburger gets stomped. Pretz trades on the other end. This is not what the Orange want to see, but that is. Jono gets one. Dez gets Jono down. Have A open, though. Can get some space here, even though if it is 2-3, but they don't have Spike. Spike went down in the back end there, and you're going to try and defend A as long as you can with Owen. Has 3 players to beat on the Columbus side. Pret's going to slowly advance, just try and do what they can to get point down. They'll be able to plant, luckily. The Orange really needed that, and I think if Ohio State, knowing they didn't plant, probably should have pushed there. Would have liked to see more aggression out of the Columbus side. But we'll have to see how it folds out here. Aggressive looks from the Orange, who are trying to cover everything. Trying to get one more. Pretz is on the rope. That is a rough situation, but Owen gets one. That's a great shot. Knight goes down, and Pretz, only with a revolver, has to go into the smoke, play aggressive, and goes down.
Yeah, I mean, you know, from the side of Syracuse, I liked what I saw at first, right? I believe that was Jono who was over on that B site, right? You were looking to play for that spike, just as we saw Ohio State do multiple times on their attack, right? Look to clear a site, grab the spike, and full rush, right? We saw that multiple times. I think that's what Syracuse was going for, but you can't have that lurker die early, right? That's what we saw, that lurker. Both of them died early, and then you had Pretz and Owen down there on site, and I mean, there's nothing you could do. You had to go back. You had to run to spike, giving Ohio State the opportunity. You didn't really have time to rotate either, and you were able to go in. And now 6-12, Syracuse here. Round point for game number 1 here. Luckily, they're able to buy. That is the good thing. All the util on lock here. Ultimates on lock as well, but Syracuse cannot afford to have anyone die early.
Yeah, Dez and Hamburger are playing quite the game for the Buckeye side. Those Columbus players are just absolutely rolling in certain senses when they get into those one-on-one gunfights. They're winning probably about 75% of the time with these players. Hamburger's aggression and Dez' ability there also very aggressive. Gets Hayabusa in the other end, really trying their best as Grifty goes down to their side. Dez looks the wrong way as Owen gets them back behind Jono. Really good conquering there from the Orange, who just needed to get that space and had that space. But now they have C pretty wide open if they can put down the util in time and not let them get any space onto site. Orange moving left, going back towards that top end here. They're going to clash right here in the middle. Jono gets Hamburger, who peeks too aggressively. 2 behind the smoke. They don't know that, obviously. Pretz just waiting, goes down to Knight, and the Orange lose their man advantage. Going back up, Knight gets one more. They tie it, but Knight goes down to Jono. Yahtzee! 3K.
when Knight is on the field, the lights turn out for Syracuse, but not that time. The light stayed on, and they were able to stop them before that round ended there. Very well played, and now look at this, right? Ohio State has to play a little bit more on the less economy standpoint, right? I mean, obviously they're going to be able to buy here, but Syracuse looking to snowball this, right? Winning this round means they go into that round 9 potentially with Ohio State having no money, right? Very, very good for that economy, but Syracuse is still very far away. 5-round deficit to make it to overtime. Ohio State, 1 round will give them the game here, but I'm liking the way Syracuse is playing. I'm liking the way that they're playing this site. They're playing the bait of this util. They just have to keep it up.
Look, someone bought a judge on the Ohio State side, so I think you're about to see some non-traditional silly stuff here from the Buckeyes. They're going to know their tactics a little bit more. You're seeing the instant peek on the boxes. Down goes Dapper Waldy, the only defender on A site right now. Rapid relocation from the Ohio State defenders, trying to rotate onto site. They have the opportunity to plant. They will. Stop, gets the spike down during the nightmare. It's going to be a bad set here for the Orange. They need to get rid of this disadvantage, try and buy some time for themselves. Knight gets Jono down. It's just been lights out in these situations, trying to get anything. They have to back up, have almost no health, drained by the ultimate. Neon, ulting as well, just has the advantage. They have sight entirely controlled. The Orange are now back on offense. Dez gets through with the ult. Oh no! Flashing come in. Dez goes down, but they can't beat 4 peeking at the same time, and the defuse should be enough for the for Ohio State.
Oh, I mean, it started out so good for Syracuse, the Vice Ultimate as well, putting down that primary weapon for the side of Ohio State, because all of them, I believe, did get hit. But Dez, with that Neon Ultimate, we didn't see it do much this game, but when it came in and it counted, Dez was the player to find that value. I mean, 3 kills found with that here. I mean, 24 and 14, Hamburger 17 and 11, Knight 15 and 12. Syracuse all sort of clumped in that middle section there, 7 to 13. I mean, Carson, we saw some signs of life from Syracuse, but I'm going to let you talk here, but I want to see some changes.
Yeah, Dez, Hamburger, and Knight just led the charge. Different point, any point really, they kind of had full control over it all. Those retakes from Ohio State were lethal. Yeah. They shut the Orange out of this game. They were leading by 2 at halftime. They won by 5. What happened? The retakes. They had the double initiator combo, which worked beautiful wonders for them. And you saw that ult there right at the end. Completely drained the Orange. You go that into Neon ult. Neon has to tap you once. You're at 1 health. It hit every single Orange player there. It's a really tough situation. You don't have the ult advantage. You're down 5. You have to get rid of this retake. And not a good situation. Dealing with initiator abilities. Dealing with 2 ults. You can't do much there, and the Orange didn't get much value out of that unfortunate situation. I'd like to see some stuff change. I'd like to see more of an aggressive comp.
Yeah, I agree. And, obviously, that comp was very strong for Ohio State. One of the strongest things is the fact that they had 2 initiators on that composition that were able to take full value of the small sites, right? But going into this next map, which will be Abyss, right? The only map in the game you can jump off of and fall, so you have to be careful, right? But the sites are larger, right? There's only 2 sites as well, so this double initiator composition won't be as powerful. Now, it will be strong, but it won't be as powerful as it's been able to on Lotus, where basically 1 initiator and 1 duelist could 2v5 a site.
Yeah, you're getting to a situation where this Ohio State team has everything in the right direction. Yeah. They have the momentum right now mentally. You have to account for that. You have to say, what am I going to do different? You have to stand up on that stage, take a deep breath, understand what you did wrong, go back up there and change what you did. You cannot go back up there and do the same thing again. That might be your best comp. That might be the comp that you think wins championships. But when you get down to it, when you get to the Sin City, you're going to have to change on the fly. You can't just gamble on what you have already there set up and what you know. Going out of your comfort zone is a massive point here, and the Orange might have to do it to beat this Ohio State team, who honestly rolled them in that second half. The first half looked great, 7-5. They came back from a pretty big deficit, down 3, got it within 2, won those last 3, had that positive record the last 5 rounds, were able to bring it in, trying their best after that timeout there. Didn't go well. I'd like to see a lot of change from this Orange team, and I don't think Vice is just enough to deal with 2 initiators.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'll say here, right, Carson, is if I'm changing some things on Syracuse, I know it may not be the best of the best characters. I think you run some strong double sentinels here, right? Yes, Vice and Deadlock are both Sentinels nonetheless, right? Vice a little bit stronger than Deadlock, but I mean, people say it all the time, right? You can't run solo Deadlock. You can't run solo Vice because as Sentinels, they can't do tremendous amounts of work to lock down a site, right? Unlike a Killjoy or a Cypher, right? Very, very powerful Sentinels to lock down sites. If I'm Syracuse here, I think I throw out the Vice and I put the Killjoy in, right? If you can play the Killjoy, I think you run the Killjoy. You really look to lock down that site. I know Cypher's not in the best place right now, so I'm not going to say run Cypher, right? Throw that Killjoy in, play to really lock down that site. Or if you want to, go Killjoy Vice. If you really like that Vice, Hayabusa, very, very much a fan of this Vice. We've seen it before. Fine, play the Vice, right? Put a Killjoy in there. Put a powerful Sentinel in, because if this is any correlation of what we're going to see in the next map, Ohio State, they may not play the double initiator, right? But they may play more of an aggressive, faster comp, right? Maybe we see, like I said, I know it's not the best thing to play right now. Maybe you see that Neon again, but maybe see a Chamber on that Sentinel sort of dualisty role, right? So they can still play aggressive, right? Without running that double initiator. So there's a lot that Ohio State's probably going to run out on. You know they're comfortable on this aggressive play style, and you know they're probably not going to run what's typical meta.
No. You saw that last time. Ohio State is one of those teams that I think is going to play the game how they want to play it.
Exactly.
And
saw it last night.
being able to do that is a skill in its own, because you see it sometimes at higher levels where there's comps that players can't beat because they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
They don't know how that's going to work. You see it so little, and that's what Ohio State's comp really felt like. Knight was on a character you don't see a lot. I mean, you don't.
Yeah, Clove, you haven't seen very often.
Clove, you've seen very little of. I mean, she just came out like 6 months ago, I believe, 5 months ago.
Yeah, they came out a while ago.
Came out a while ago, but haven't seen a lot of competitive play. You watch the higher level orgs. Clove has gotten some use, but it depends, and it's very situational. And Ohio State just went for it. Game one, no reply to anything. Maybe did the scouting because Clove did a really good job in shutting down the orange. It was very, very good on Lotus. See what they can improve there. But if I'm the orange, I'm going true Savant combo. I want Reyna.
Okay.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
All right.
Reyna, Raze. We saw how good Raze was last time. Now give me Cypher and Deadlock and just Sage to really round it out. And you are the best at three things in very good situations. And
stick to play-by-play.
Stick to play-by-play, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm with you, Carson, right? I want to see something unique. Throw something out there that the other team is not going to expect, right? We saw that from Ohio State. They came out with a Killjoy and a Clove, and it's like, what am I watching? Right? They came out, you weren't ready for it, right? So I do agree, right? maybe something a little bit more powerful, right? Overall, a little bit more synergetic, but I agree, right? Throw something out there that's uncommon. I mean, Vice, a little bit more uncommon. We see that from Hayabusa a lot, right? So continue to play that Vice if you want to. I personally think you have some better options. I've said that before, but if that's Syracuse's strength, right, then stick to it, right? I'm not gonna push. Obviously, I'm not the coach. I stand back here and talk behind a glass window, so that's what I'm gonna stick to doing, right? But when it comes down to it, make changes, make something unique that because I know these players are scrimming. I know these players are trying new things, right? So this is sort of, in a sense, I mean, this is what happens in best of threes. You kind of got to throw a Hail Mary sometimes and just see if it sticks, right? Throw something a little bit unique out, not too far off of what you're used to, right? So, we saw that Breach this time, a little bit different, right? And maybe you throw in a Killjoy instead of one of those other Sentinels, right? Instead of that Vice or instead of, that Deadlock, right? Throw something a little bit more unique out, maybe something you're not fully comfortable on that maybe doesn't quite synergize with the composition, but it's more unique, right? It adds an element of surprise that Ohio State is going to have to adapt to.
Yeah, and the moral of the story of what I just said was have the most fun possible.
That is also true.
Because if you are having the most fun possible, then exponentially you should be having the best time and be the most coordinated potentially. Yeah. It's a simple graph. Win is the two X and Y axes. And if you win, you win. Yeah. And that's what you can do when you have fun. And that was the strangest thing I think I've ever said on live air. But if I'm the orange, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to have fun. I'm going to play with what I want. And if Vice is that, I think you should go something different. I think you should have different fun than what you were playing last time. But go out there and play something that you haven't seen in a while. Play something that they definitely haven't seen in a while. And might be out of meta, but it's not useless. That's kind of the biggest thing.
You know what, Carson? Back to Viper Omen. Let's bring it back to that beautiful meta there. Viper Omen. Cypher, I fully forgot what was in that meta. I kind of blocked it out of my head because I didn't really,
Icebox was there.
Icebox was there. Yeah, I mean, that was a very interesting meta. I mean, you know, with that Viper and that Omen, you had a lot of that double controller strength. I mean, Brimstone, right? It was a lot of just, you know, throw stuff down and play your smoke. That's kind of what the composition came down to, is just play for the smoke, right? And I mean, obviously, you know, Syracuse, you have what you're comfortable on. Now let's make some changes. What are you comfortable on? That's unique to you, right? Syracuse special, right? That's kind of what it comes down to is, you know, Valorant, unlike some other games, right? Like Overwatch is pretty hard set on a meta, right? Sometimes you can make changes, but for the most part, you're very set on that meta, and it's very hard to change things, right? For Valorant, there are strong characters that are typically meta, but the good thing with Valorant is you can make changes, right? You can change out that, you know, deadlock for a Killjoy or that that Omen for a Brimstone, right? You can make those changes and it still works out well if you're more comfortable on it.
At the end of the day, you're playing CSGO with extra steps. You have to be able to be there locked in mentally and hit the shots that you need to hit and have the util. No matter what you're playing, you need to just have your strategy down packed.
Yeah.
I say having fun very loosely because you need to play coordinated as a team.
Absolutely.
You need to have it together, be able to work together is the biggest thing there. But it's very hard to do on Lotus. I mean, you're on the defensive end. You've got like you need a cartographer to decipher that map. I went for cartographer, so I feel like that was okay to stutter a little bit on, but it's tough. You really can't deal with it in a sense, and you're trying now here to play something new and get more drama in this game than a middle school lunch table.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you kind of are. Yeah, I'm not, you know what? Yes, that is completely correct, Carson. And, you know, one other thing that I want to mention, though, right? You are down one, you know. Yes, you want to have fun. Yes, you want to look for the best composition you can play, but that was really fast. I didn't mean to say that fast. But also, you know, one thing to really keep in mind here, right? Stay locked in the whole way through. You just played, was it, I believe, 21 rounds, 13-8 there, 13-7. It was 20 rounds, excuse me. So 20 rounds were played here, right? Now you're going to make some changes here. And all right, Carson, all right. So talk to me. What are we seeing?
Well, talking about the lunch table scenario, we're throwing some rumors at Stacy, talking smack about John. We've got a very good setup here. We're going to be in the Sova Jet Astra, which is a different look entirely, and not one I think Ohio State probably hasn't seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I don't think Stacy's mom would be very happy about that, but it's been a few decades, so we'll have to see. Hayabusa gonna lock in the Cypher instead of that Vice, a character that I personally have always found enjoyment on. Both teams gonna lock in the Cypher here. The KO on the Sova, the Astra instead of the Omen, but both teams on the Jet, so almost a mirror composition. That's what we were talking about, right? Making some slight changes that maybe throws your opponent off guard from the side of excuse me, from Ohio State, Astra, right? Gonna have a lot of that sort of different type of smoking util, right? You can have the ability to suck in, stun, and also do very large cosmic divide. From the side of Syracuse, though, right? Sticking to that Omen. Owen on the Omen, if you ever have to rhyme just to get it understanding. It's Owen on the Omen there. And, you know, with this, right, you have the double smokes, you have the TPs, you have the paranoia. So two very, very different controllers. And now we get to see in this sort of almost mirror composition how these two are going to play into these controllers. Because I think at the end of the day, right, that is going to make the difference, right? How is your how is your Omen going to play, and how is your Asher going to play? It's going to come down to Knight and Owen on these controllers.
Yeah, I mean, Omen is just there's one letter and it's just completely 180 on top
yeah,
of
it's
itself.
completely upside down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually think I meant to say Omen a few times and just said Owen. So
I totally did too.
I mean, honestly, if you're thinking about it now, if you're an Omen main, this is a great meta. You just keep playing Omen, and that works every time. It's really ridiculous, to be honest with you, that this character stayed in meta almost entirely except for that first beginning part of the game. Omen's just kind of been there all the time, no matter what.
Controllers. I mean, it's what happens, right? When you have two smokes that you get back on cooldown, you have not a stun, excuse me, a blind, and then some TPs, and then Shrouded Step as an ultimate, just incredibly powerful as well, right? So you can play aggressive when you need to and play back as well. But we're on Abyss here, 0-0. Syracuse University starting off on the attacking side this time instead of the defensive side. Jono, instead of on this deadlock, will be your duelist. No dash here, but does have some smokes to use as they need to.
Yeah, there's 2 flavors of pistol round, and we're giving them the Metal Gear Solid one. Dapper Wally just had a tough game last time on the Cypher now again. Maybe a controller main did a lot more, and I think and showed up in the kill feed for that Buckeye side. Didn't see a lot of players at certain rounds. As they go back and forth, Scooby-Doo, Dez ends up with the win there. Pretz gets it as 3 go down on the side of the orange. Just a gunfight win, and that Metal Gear Solid, they unfortunately got detected. Exclamation mark above the head.
Yup, Syracuse gonna lose a couple members here. Can't quite find the shot. Pretz will be taken down. The trades aren't there, but Hayabusa will be able to find one, won't be able to find the other, as the Cypher will take down the other Cypher, and Ohio State gonna start off strong here on this side. I mean, Syracuse, you know, thing with the Abyss here, very, very large sites, right? A very long mid, right? This mid section of the map, it's very long, but it's very straight, right? So there's not really too much you can play with, but it is a very different type of rotate if you choose to go through this middle area, right? So, you know, Syracuse still looking to figure out how they want to play this, trying to figure out how Ohio State is playing around these sites. And I think, you know, Syracuse may feel more comfortable on this type of composition, right? You have some of these players. Pretz on the Sova saw a lot last year, incredibly powerful on this Sova. So we're going to have to see what happens here, but the KO will detect. The knife is not destroyed in time.
Yeah, I didn't see the Sova at all last week against Kansas, and the Fall Star will be able to play the character that I think wreaked havoc on other teams throughout last season. Syracuse, again, going for a bit more of a split push, a bit more centralized on B. One of the newer maps Abyss is, and yeah, like you mentioned, it's the only one you can fall on, and it does happen quite a bit. Up top, they find Niall. Owen gets one for the side of the orange.
Yep, location will be revealed, though, as now Ohio State gonna look to slowly push on to this site here, and now Syracuse on the site, able to get the plant down, will be Stomp here, and Ohio State now going to have to look onto playing onto this site. And I mean, this is where Syracuse, right now that you're on site, look for that post plant, excuse me, but Dez will be able to finds 2. Once again, the trades, something that is so crucial for Syracuse to just be able to take a hold of. They can't quite find it as Dez finds 3 here, Carson.
Dez is mowing him down, prim and proper.
4.
There's 4, trying to get the ace, but Dapperway going to finish off the final kill for that Buckeye side. I would not be too happy if I was Jet right now.
Yeah, I mean, just like that, right? And Dez, not only will they be able to find a couple kills there, but also will get their ultimate for this next coming round. On round 3, very early to get this Jet ultimate, get those knives. And, you know, now we're going to see Syracuse going to force that buy here. And Ohio State, they can play whatever really they want, right? They're going to go a little bit on this half buy. They don't have to force here. Syracuse is going to force this buy. And, you know, we've seen this a few times here, but Syracuse, I believe they are currently 0-2 on their forced buy rounds after these pistol rounds. So, you know, now that we're on Abyss, right, you were able to get onto that site, but once again, post-plant, really been a struggle for this team on the attacking side, as well as these trades, Carson.
Yeah, the Orange are 0-4 when they lose the first game. They've taken it to 3 games one time, and it's going to be a tough situation here. Massive uphill battle for a team that's not been able to do this yet. Has encountered some very good teams along the way, but normally either wins 2-0 or loses 0-2. Stomp moving forward. Hamburger in the vicinity, trying to just not get hamburglarized of their life here on that right side. Moving forward, saw Hamburger, gets the ping, but there doesn't know there's too long. Waiting is perfect for Stomp. The patience pays off, and that's a happy meal well earned.
Syracuse now with a kill in their favor here, as now they're going to look through this B site. Once again, it's a very long mid, but it can be very challenging, right? You are forcing these duels, but with this Omen, you have some good smoke locations here. Dez will pop the knives here on the side of Ohio State. Still down 1 to keep that in mind here. Syracuse going to slowly look to rotate over to A and push through this B site, it looks like, I believe. Yep, looks like they're going to push over to this A site slowly here, try to bait out any Ohio State util before they get onto this site.
Yeah, and I think the tough part for Ohio State is on stream is Dez is so good that you're going to have to show it off before they just stop. Just gets rid of it. Cannot get the knife in the head initially. I think Stomp would have gone down instantaneously. Could that have been the case? But the Cypher working out well. Plant for the Orange. They'll try not lose another retake here like they did last round. They have a big advantage though, 4-3. See what they can do as they've got 3 kind of trapped in a different section at A. A is going to be tough here. Pretz sees 2, knows where 1 it is at least, as Grifty gets Owen down. Not what you want to see. Not the trades they want. Hayabusa gets one more. KO goes down. Astra behind the wall takes some damage. Pretz gets Dapper Waldy. Just the Astra remaining for that Ohio State side. Buckeyes trying to get anything they can. Get some damage off. Orange just cannot get that trade up top. Knight gets one more. Knight gets two. Disaster!
No!
Disaster! Down goes 3. The Orange have just lost the whole team, but they need to defuse. They have the time. Hayabusa keeps it. Oh my goodness. Recovery. Recovery.
Can we stop giving Knight 1v1s, please? Like, I'm telling you, Carson, this is where Syracuse falters, right? From a team play standpoint, they are incredibly good, but these trades, you cannot let Ohio State take advantage. Knight, a scary player, right? Able to find so many kills so easily in these 1v1s, right? So you have to watch that, right? You have to watch your teammates. You have to watch their angles, hold those crosses, because if you don't, you're going to have players like Knight who can almost get a 4-piece and win, right? That you should never be in a situation, if you are Syracuse, where it is a 1v4 and you still almost lose that. You have to be careful.
You have peak as a team. That's the biggest thing there. You can't just, I mean, I was watching like bowling. Just lined them up, knocked them down, knocked them down, knocked them down, and almost had to strike, but we were spared on that other end. Great job by the Orange to get the last one. They're just really tough on the retakes it's been for the Orange defending Ohio State.
Yeah, it does look like, though, Syracuse is going to get on the site, but Knight is going to find Owen on the Omen. And now, once again, the controller going to be down. Syracuse is able to get on the site before that Omen falls. Right, we've seen some good util coming out from Syracuse on the side of Omen, right? Able to find their ability to get onto the site. Ohio State's controller, however, right, Knight, other than, you know, being just a warlord on the kills, right, in the kill feed, their smokes, we haven't seen too much crazy things happening though, but as I say that, Syracuse is gonna be good.
3-piece for Jono there. Real good section. Kind of accidentally shot. The Jet was just aiming at anything they could. Knight the last one, though. But Jono able to get the 4-piece and put it away. Ties the game. But Knight has been playing like an initiator or a duelist at a certain point, winning those 1v1s at the same rate as Arena would back in, I don't know, 2022. It's just lining them up and knocking them down. The Orange have to play as a team, and that's exactly what they did there. They took the space. They didn't line themselves up and go too aggressive and lock themselves in a corridor. When they were fighting Knight, they just were not in a good spot. The positioning was very bad. They all went up that ramp and just decided to take the 1v1. And seeing that advancement right to the next round, playing in an amazing way, being able to recover it well, down 2-0, back to 2-2, just learning from your mistakes, even one round later on a round that you won.
Yeah, we are going to see the cam is immediately taken down as Ohio State has a couple members there cross through mid. And now going on to A site. Look at this push coming in from B on the side of Ohio State. They are going aggressive here, and immediately we're going to see Dapper have to fight up against Hayabusa, but will find the pick. But a very aggressive push coming from Ohio State, punished immediately by Syracuse.
Yeah, Dapper shouldn't pick there. Sova doesn't even notice the Jet that flew above them. That's a very good start for the Orange. 5-3 advantage now. Waldy has been struggling on the Ohio State side. You saw that there. The Cypher just peeked and was not able to do much of anything. Struggling on the shots. A really good controller, though, being able to give Ohio State the information they need, and has been a massive piece. It's easy to forget about how good they've been as Grifty gets Hayabusa, but Stomp able to get Knight, which has been their bane so far. They're hoping to be Batman here with the 3 remaining on that left side. Just going to go into a split push here on that top land.
Yeah, and here we go. Here is Pretz just watching these angles. We do see, right, 2 members watching each angle. So the crosses are here. This is what we need. So theoretically, Syracuse, right, should be able to find one even if the trade is there. We are going to see Jono runs out. And just one by one, they're all walking out. But Pretz is able to find them. Carson, they're trying to give me a heart attack. They really are. I mean, you know, just be a little patient. Watch the crosses. You don't have to ego that.
If you're going to do that, start together, because what ended up happening was one person peaked, and then everyone was like, oh, we got to go. And then the 3 came out, then it was able to go down. Good job. Good job from Pretz to put it away. But what you're seeing on this other side is you are seeing a bit more of a top-heavy Ohio State team, kind of depending on the round. Dez or Knight is going to pioneer this team, and if you can get both of those down, I think the Orange, in my head, are now 7-1 when Knight and
Dez are on the field.
Dez are the first ones down on the field.
Oh, sorry.
Bang, finally got it. Grifty gets 1. Jono, though, has the ult. Gets 2 on the other side of the Orange, as the ult is wasted, unfortunately, for Jono, who gets 1, but trades 3 away in the process.
Yeah, now Syracuse 2-on-4 here. You have an initiator and a controller on site, so you know you have some good util here to use, and it's all there to use as well, right, for Syracuse. But I mean, you're in an interesting spot at the moment here, where it is that 2-on-4, so you have to be a little bit more careful, right? You have the util to use, you have an ultimate at your disposal as well for Pretz. Unfortunately, you don't have that drone, right? That drone is not able to be used here, so you have to really play on this this recon dart from the side of Sova, and I mean. Yes, it's very powerful, but that drone, I mean, it gives you so much capability to really look into this match, but a slow push through mid is going to happen for the side of Syracuse as they're about to walk into the crosshairs here.
Yeah, the trading happened very quickly. There's two right there, and they line up.
Don't peek
One
it.
more. Ooh,
Oh.
just ran by it. Has the spike. Gonna move on to the next one. Pretend that that didn't happen.
Oh, the
Just kidding.
pitch.
We're back. Has the recon dart. Gets Pretz. This is if you've ever seen a Jersey Mike sandwich made, this is how they do it. Pretz gets one. Able to get out there. That's a very good start. Has to go the other way. No aggression from the other side. And the Orange are very aggressive, but you see what can happen there. Oh, chasing down Jet. Jet running away. Jet's gone. What? What just happened?
Dez is just playing for that time, right? 4 seconds, won't be able to find the spike. Maybe tries to live here, tries to find a pick if they can. What picks? Look to your left. Yes!
Oh.
There we go. Pretz able to find a beautiful pick there and will stay alive. Does have the gun. And, I mean, you know, you didn't take that round. You're even, but you found a good couple of picks there. And good for your economy, especially.
Yeah, so many food analogies. You see hamburger there. I'm obviously hungry with the amount of food analogies I've made tonight. But that was great. I mean, you can't get the spike down, obviously. You want to win that round. I don't know how Ohio State wasn't more aggressive there. You have 4-on-1, and you essentially lost so much value. You lost the maximum amount of value in that situation on a win one round. So money momentum for the Orange won't be as bad. But now we're tied 3-3, and we have, like I said, drama at the middle school lunch table.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how Stacy comes back and responds to this one here, Carson. As Syracuse, the drone on the site, and no one spotted, though, but that's because Ohio State here's a drone. They kite back. They don't want to give any information to Syracuse as they slowly push on to B site here again as Jono up in the middle of mid here. Will take down a camera, I believe, and already, right, that's going to expose your position, but if you are Jono here, right, you know that there is now someone here. Hamburger's taken down, and the trade is there.
Yeah, Dez able to recover for Stomp's kill there as Hayabusa goes down. Losing that Cypher early is not great on offense. It's a lot less important than defense there, but the retake has been struggling with the Orange. He can get on site initially. They peek together and just go down together. Pretz gets one more with the ult, though, and now we're seeing Omen teleport behind. They're going to be able to get the plant despite not having the advantage. Not bad from the Orange, who have recovered from what was not a great situation. We saw 4-on-1 go well for Pretz earlier, trying to see 3-on-2, waiting for Dapper Waldy. Hasn't had the best game so far, and this is what we're talking about with timing. Backs up.
Crosshair,
Waldy!
crosshair.
Oh, a little bit higher, please, on the crosshair.
Oh, but sight. They're just going to walk onto sight.
Oh, but yeah, they have that there. Gonna jump. They're defusing, please. Go on site right.
Wait,
has to get him
wait.
now, but forces them off the bomb. And Dez should have been able to defuse there.
Wait.
It's just Press and Dez. They don't know. They're in
into
front
the
of each
smoke.
other.
The gun peeks
No,
out
no.
It's those tense moments there, Carson. Dez will get the defuse. Your gun peeks out of the smoke first. You have to peek that from the side so that your opponent doesn't see the gun, and immediately Dez watches that smokes, wait for the second. The pixel of that gun peeks, and immediately is able to find that kill. I mean, that round got pretty chaotic there. I mean, I'm okay, right? A timeout sort of just reset, right? A lot has happened in just 2 rounds, right? I mean, you're down to Owen and Pretz a couple times there. You just got to make a couple changes, and I mean, you know, you're not in a bad spot, right? You're definitely much better than you were last round, but, you know, obviously this post plant still very difficult, right? Syracuse has been getting on the site relatively easily, right? I'm liking this mid push. They're doing a very good job, right? Slowly pushing forward. They're finding a couple trades there, right? You don't want to lose too many though, right? We've seen a lot of sort of just fights in the middle here, and unfortunately for the side of Syracuse is instead of, you know, trading 1-for-1, typically it's, you know, you're still losing 2 or 3, and it leaves Pretz and Owen there to sort of, yes, they're on site, but you know, you're still fighting a 2v4 or 2v3, and it's difficult, right? Especially for those two to be able to play that post plant.
Yeah, and if I'm the Orange, I'd like to play a bit more as a team here. You're having an easy time getting on site, so why not just all go on site? I kind of don't see the point in battling at mid. I know you want that pick, but 5-on-5, not bad. Maybe we'll get that pick on the other side. They're not going to have the right amount of people if you're running with 5 towards site. Be aggressive. You've worked it earlier. It worked great earlier. I'm not sure why the Orange have strayed away from that as they move down the stretch here. 4-3. Ohio State has the advantage. But we're heading towards the midway break. The Orange struggled a lot last time after they swapped sides. But they're on the offense this time. Hopefully the defense is a bit better than they've had it for the Ohio State side, who I believe just has been not as good. Oh my goodness. Talk about aggression. Down goes one. They get the trade, though. That's what the picks they're looking for, and Ohio State just kind of handed it to them there. That was way too aggressive. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State, they play a little aggressive there, right?
They're untraditional. They don't play this game like anybody else. I
mean, that's the thing with Ohio State, though, right? I mean, we've seen it twice now, right? They play their own game. They play the way that they want to play. And you know, we saw that, and because of that, right, they pushed A. Syracuse took a second to reset, play a little bit more passive, a little bit further behind, and was able to find a couple picks here. We will have Stomp's ultimate online if they choose to use it. Syracuse walking through the smokes, going to get on to site. A couple trips already down here. Knight is here.
I believe Cypher ult went off, so they know at least a little bit of where they might be. Cypher the last one there. Dangerous point, and okay, that all works out. 3K for Stomp, Yahtzee if you will. Dapper Wally the last one to go down. That went a lot better than I was expecting. Dapper Wally peaks, but the other Oranges are there, and the Citrus team, they play as a team. That is what we've been begging them to do, I feel like, sometimes, and they're finally doing it. Aggression from Ohio State, they reacted well to that. I don't know if that's happened earlier in the game and we missed it, but that's obscene, like in the sense of you don't see that, and that's what Ohio State's doing. They're going in there and they're playing angles and strange things, and just you have no idea what you're going to expect. You're basically you're playing Balatro. You don't know what Joker you're going to get next, and Ohio State's just been playing with different multipliers, different types of everything, and I mean, it's kind of what are we going to see next here, and they're back on the aggressive side, creeping towards CT as Stomp is.
Don't peek that by yourself.
Please stop.
Don't peek that by yourself. Wait. Oh. A
Okay.
lot of bullets. Syracuse finds one.
It took a mag. Dez goes down. Pretz gets Hamburger, and Knight has no health, almost entirely, nearly died to the recon bolt, but Pretz gets the discovery on the recon bolt, and it's 5-2 early. Ohio State's way too aggressive on that right side. 0-2 right now. Just kind of not batting well for that so far in the game. Maybe they have to go back to that less aggressive, more conservative role. Traditional defense, if you will, as Ohio State moves in the inning. Dapper Waldy, first kill in 3 rounds, gets Stomp. Doing a little bit better for that side of Ohio State. Need them to step up in these situations. Grifty gets one more. The Orange are slipping a little bit here. 3-2 advantage still. Towards the other side, I saw red. I really thought that was the enemy. Oh.
Yeah, just running it down there on the side of the map. And here we go here. It's a 2-on-3, I believe. Syracuse in the favor at the moment. Dapper Waldy spotted and taken down by Owen, and this is great for Syracuse here. They're ready for this post-plant defense. Grifty, the only one left alive here, waiting for someone to just peek their head out, and immediately the bullet will give the recon that Syracuse needs to take this next fight. Grifty will find one, though, and Jono, only one there, but Syracuse knows that they will win that, and I was wondering when we were going to see the phone pop out, and there it is. Aura coming out for Syracuse as they're now going to take, I believe, their first lead in this series here, Carson.
I really tried not to laugh as soon as as soon as he pulls out his phone and goes Aura. And this is absurd. Why did they add a phone to Valorant?
Why not, man?
That's a really good point.
You know, I mean, sometimes, you know, you just need to check your Twitter, check your social media, Qs_esports, go give it a follow, and, you know, you got to check in between rounds, you know? That was beautiful. I commend it. I can't even process how good that was. Just a beautiful shill. Look, you got 30 seconds in between rounds. It's not that long to click a couple buttons there.
That's true, and Ohio State was taking now 30 seconds between pushes here. Way too aggressive on that last side. I think they know, but have put the entire team on B. And because the Orange have not gone to A yet, and I believe 5 rounds they've seen B is going to work, and if it ain't broke, don't, or if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Yeah, no, I had it there. As Hamburger goes down to Stomp, they're pushing the other end. Ohio State more conservative, now setting up that retake that's been so strong for them earlier. Orange looking to take their biggest lead of the night if they can get this round here. Knight peeking alone. Back to the other side, Pretz gets Knight. That's, I guess, their bane on retakes down there. Grifty gets Pretz, though, who's been very good in these situations. Jono towards that right side and go back off to that spot we've seen earlier. Stomp gets Dapper Waldy. Dez gets stomped back on point. Now you just have the 2 orange on site and, you know, the 1 creeping off site who's slowly going to come back here. But Cypher has a bit of weird positioning. Grifty going to try and stake the defuse out. They know that Omen's there. That's the spot you stand in if you're playing this map, but it didn't account for Hayabusa.
There you go, and just like that, Syracuse taking control of this middle school lunch table. Carson, Stacy's mom was doing a good job, but have you heard Jesse's girl, the new drama in town? As Syracuse has a full buy, forcing out Ohio State, gonna be at that money disadvantage. Great way for Syracuse to bring themselves back into this here. 6 rounds here. Obviously, you want to continue to go forward if you can, if it's at all possible, right? Try to go 8-4 if it's possible here, but you know, at the end of the day, at the worst case scenario, you can only go even going into this next round.
Yeah.
Or next half, excuse me.
Yes. Very worst there. You don't want to do that. You want to win at least 1 round,
Absolutely.
go up 7-5 like Ohio State did.
Yep.
Orange have played 1 game 3 tonight, or
Tonight, yeah.
0 game 3s tonight, 1 game 3 throughout the entire season. Going to be interesting to see how they reply to that, but right now they need to win game 2, so we'll get back to that there. 2 rounds up on the Ohio State Buckeyes, the biggest lead they've had all series long in Valorant so far. Going to be curious to see, but just an interesting strat. Very good peek on that right side. They decided now to go to A because I think they guessed pretty well that the Orange weren't going to go to B, but unfortunately, old habits die hard, it seems. Owen just going to help peek the Orange onto A with nobody towards that B site. Des, the only one watching. They're going to come to clash here. That's the Jet there. Maybe come to butt heads.
Oh, this
3
could
orange.
be dangerous. No one's looking!
No one's looking! Oh, okay. This is the moment where the caster stopped talking. Okay, we're
Okay.
good.
Owen gets 1, and the trap goes down for what is essentially a makeshift smoke. Jono gets 1 more in the form of Hamburger. Eaten well. Grifty back up top, defending that top site. Owen gets Grifty, and we're seeing that aggression now come out. They're not playing conservative anymore on these retake attempts. Dapper Waldy goes and gets Owen, but only 2 defenders, and they're split. They need to make a decision here, try and push, get whatever they can. Not looking good for the Buckeye side, though. But we've seen Knight do some crazy things down 4-2. And here maybe it comes. Dapper Waldy gets the Cypher trade. Slowly but surely, Ohio State trying to get right back into this. Stomp back towards on site. Cypher able to get down to Pretz, who's safe on that right side. Knight gets the shot. 1 more one-on-one. They don't know where Jono is. And perfect angle from the Jet. Goes down. Up 3 now. 7-4. Orange really needed that, and Knight was looking to ramp up there.
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse, right? They started to play more passive. They started to play a little bit more, right? Ohio State, you want to play aggressive? Fine. Be that way. Come to us and see what happens, right? That's exactly how Syracuse has been playing, and they are taking advantage, right? Ohio State need to look for their adaptation now, right? It's a game of adaptation, especially when it comes to these compositions, right? Now that we're on this mirror, it's a matter who plays it better, right? Both these games a little bit even, though, right? So now, how are you going to adapt to this, right? Ohio State, are you going to continue to play aggressive? Because right now, that's exactly what Syracuse wants.
Yeah, the Orange have done just an excellent job now here. Have it down to his sides, but now they're going to go back to the other side, towards A. Dez and Grifty just immediately launch it there, and Hamburger's ult gets 1 more. We're seeing a reverse there. Orange go aggressive on A. Ready were the Buckeyes here as they move down towards the other side. Peeking all the way from Columbus, just runs back. Jet stash is quite interesting on the other end. Orange just kind of have a Vandal and an Operator as they're just trying to go, and now they've lured them back towards A. I'm not sure if they'll fully rotate. Orange going to make some quiet sounds, just look like they've gone away maybe potentially. But the Buckeyes still have 5. They've got 2 towards B, 3 towards A, and they're all watching this wall right here. Oh boy.
When you have all 5 of your players alive, you can totally do that when you have all 5 players of your team alive, right? You can afford to do this 3-on-2, and now Syracuse, this Operator scares me on the attack, right? You could possibly be giving Ohio State this op for free. 35 seconds, and yep, there it is. 3 members, low, medium, and high. Every angle is held, and the second Pretz peeks this will likely be taken down. Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh. I had to start screaming.
Yeah,
I had to.
As we hit the half bell here at lunchtime, we've got no Operator for the other team. They're able to switch now here.
Oh,
so that's the
correct,
important
yes,
part.
okay.
Yeah. So half bell here. Now we're really getting into the thick of things. The drama's really heating up. We're going down the other side, and just generally trying to put it back together. The Orange are just really in need of trying to put kind of, I guess, pen to paper, and the best way I can describe it, as the Orange haven't been able to put down their strategies well. They either get on site and win at this point, it feels like, or they can't get on site at all. You saw that triple level PEC was just a bit tough. They set that up perfectly, and Ohio State had a tower of players on that back end, and they really haven't been able to succeed at A. 0-3 when they go to the A site right now. Only have had success towards the B site, and we'll see how they defend that now.
Yeah, now 7-5 here. Syracuse, right, in the lead on this half, luckily, but on this pistol round, this is where we've seen Syracuse sort of start to struggle here. Pretz finds one, though.
Going back towards Grifty, who's going to plant. This is just a very quick round from the pistol site. Or very quick site taken for a pistol round here as we go down. Just immediately peeking. Doesn't work well. They get flashed at the wrong time. Hamburger doesn't go down. 3 go down for the orange. Or 3 go down to the orange. Trying just to do anything they can now. Ohio State has quickly lost this point. Have one player in the right side sticking the defusal. Doesn't go too well for the Buckeye side. The orange just retook in massive fashion. Now up 8-5. Biggest lead of the night tied.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you came back after halftime here. Now it's the members of C Group get to have lunch now and get to have their own drama. And Syracuse, they're taking this one by the hand here. They're now going to be able to go on a little bit more of that semi-aggressive buy here. And, I mean, right, Syracuse, very well played. Ohio State needs to make some adaptations, but right now, Syracuse is just reading it like textbook. They were ready for that game 3, right? So remember, Syracuse, they're on sudden death for this match here. They need to win not only this game, but the next one to take this series. They want to make it even with Ohio State.
Yeah, they want to stifle this win streak in a major way. The Buckeyes have obviously won their last 3. Started the season off 1-3, now all the way back to 4-3. They're doing a great job moving forward. They're just need to stick to what they're doing here. And now on the defensive side, need to be good on those retakes, and maybe let them have a site. If you know that you can't defend that site in a proper way, you just have to let them have it. And the Orange are doing a good job, I guess, letting go, being need to be a good job separating from the site if you need to, having those regen shields, being able to take a step back from the site and not trying to get maximum value like you saw. Those regen shields change the way the player can play in a massive way.
Yeah, Syracuse here, still rounds relatively close together. It's still anyone's game here, Carson, right? A lot can happen here, but Syracuse playing patient, waiting for Ohio State to get aggressive. Ohio State, very powerful team when they're on the aggression, but also that's where mistakes can happen, right? When a team gets aggressive, that is where mistakes show, and Syracuse has been capitalizing really well on it. Now they just need to continue to capitalize on the aggression from Ohio State as we approach sub-30 here.
Yeah, one true on-site defender, presence detected. Might not go well as down goes Dapper, or Hamburger, as Dapper Waldy gets 1. Had a really good opportunity to just get 4 there, but the Stinger, unfortunately, cannot really hit the broadside of a barn at certain points when you're trying to shoot it. After about the first 3 shots, just goes in a random direction. Might have seen them there. I don't think they did. Peek's right. Dez annihilates them from the side they were still looking at, but 2 on the right side were surely going to go down. Pretz and Jet and Omen, the last 2 with the team captain there. Ooh, sticking to the recon bolt is bold. It works out for Pretz. They get 2. He gets 3. Has the opportunity for the ace. Oh, my goodness. What a play from Pretz.
Very well played overall, right? Didn't want to see an 8-6, was 7-5, no 309, and Syracuse now gonna be 4 up in the lead here as they're feeling comfortable, but you can't get cocky here.
Yeah, you don't really have to take your finger off M1 if you just line it up and knock them down. You have to, I mean, that was perfect execution. Maybe stuck to the recon bolt, really committed to it, still got the kill, still got the one on the left, still got the one on the right. That's knowing how you play in the Fall Star. Making a look at a Spring Star performances like these, leading the top of the table 21-9-1 at round 16.
Yeah, I mean, you know, things are looking good for Syracuse here. A very, very good start to their defensive side. And I mean, you know, from this more mirror composition, right, I said it's going to be down to these controllers, but overall, Syracuse playing a very good game right now. Now they're going to get a little aggressive here on this A site. Want to make sure they can see if they can find anyone. And Dapper, you will be spotted and will be taken down.
Yeah, Dapper's been kind of struggling a little bit with the positioning, and Syracuse has exploited that in a major way. And once they get into the gunfight, it is pretty good, but just can't get in the right spot, it feels like. KO and Sova pushing on a player with just a pistol. Classic gets 1. Classic almost gets 2. Goes down to the Vandal. Hamburger able to take care of the Orange Cypher there. But they got pointed in all that. That A distraction was huge because everyone's like, oh, well, we're the Orange. We're the rest of the team. And then they're already planting on that back site at B. Really aggressive on the retake attempt here. There's both sides. Pretz is in the zone. Talk about a heater.
Pretz on the Sova, the all-star Sova player here. Phenomenal work coming out from Syracuse here. Double digits, 10-5, a 5-round lead for Syracuse. They're getting locked in. They're ready to go. They're feeling really good right now, as now Syracuse 3 rounds away from taking this second game.
Have to lock in here. This is typically, if something's going to go wrong, it would go wrong. You need to calm down. You just won 3 games in a row against a team that you were struggling with last game. Just take a deep breath. You have this. The Orange need to calm down. Obviously, you want that adrenaline to run hot. You want to have that high energy and feel great. But the Orange need to just lock in and get rid of this game 2 so you can move on to game 3. But last time they were in game 3, October.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time since you've played a game 3 here. And, you know, I mean, just for reference, right, typically in scrims, you play out all rounds. That's 24 rounds for typically 2 hours. So that's 48 rounds. I mean, if you're Syracuse, right, you're getting close to that range here. You're getting close to, you know, full scrim length, if you will, right? And that can start to really take a toll, right? As we're going to see Owen ready for the smoke. Oh!
I have no clue how they missed those shots, but they did. Pretz still able to get one more. Ooh, Jet just that's the tough.
Patience.
That's a tough situation. You try and shoot the first person you see, and that's not the one shooting at you. Unfortunately, target prioritization just a matter of timing sometimes, and that is not what the Pretz wanted to see. Have the operator though on this defensive side for the Orange, and this could be pretty dangerous because if you don't get this round, you're giving the op to the other team.
Yeah, now they will get an operator, unlike what I was mentioning earlier, right? So, you know, for Syracuse, right, that spike is going to be down now. It's going to be a 2-on-3. Syracuse, an initiator, and a duelist on lock. Excuse me, 3-on-3. My apologies there. Now going to see as Syracuse gets aggressive here. The post plan is ready. One is already taken down, though, as now Syracuse needs to find some value here. Luckily, no Astra. Astra is on the field for Ohio State, so we have to be aware of that. The trades are there as Pretz looks for an ace, but won't be able to find one. And Ohio State, if they choose to pick up the op, I don't believe they will.
Yeah, maybe just too late there because the bomb went off. But
yeah,
no operator picked up. That's the best case scenario for the Orange. If you lose, Ohio State wins their first round since halftime. Orange went on a 3-0 tear off the halftime. Ohio State stopped it. Orange have a good opportunity here. Money's still in their favor. Ohio can full buy, but Dez has ultimate, I assume, because that's a revolver.
Well, you know, good thing about those knives, right? You get a headshot, you get a kill with only one singular knife. Knives are going to come back, right? So, in a good spot for the side of Syracuse, but Ohio State, right, made an adaptation. Takes a round here. You don't want to let this snowball, right? Valorant, a game, especially in money economy, can start to snowball. A beautiful headshot comes in from the side of Dez on to Owen. The controller gone now for the side of Syracuse. Stomp is ready, but can't find the pick.
Yeah, Dez has put on a clinic tonight, and Orange have to stop them there. That's a very dangerous ult to deal with. Hamburger gets stomped. Dez going to go real aggressive, just walks in the smoke. They saw the gun, and down goes Dez. One more there. Has that Guardian hit someone else? I don't know if they know they hit someone else. Backing out of the Astra smoke, that was a... how Cypher lived that is beyond me, but I think if you're the Orange, you just take a deep breath and go, we'll take that. We'll take that kill against their best player right now.
Yeah.
Hottest player on the team. Pretz still alive, but the Oranges, I guess Sparkplug we'll call it, have been great as well. See if Pretz can, I guess, lead another retake domination. They've been basically just unstoppable the second half on those retakes.
Yeah, now with this, right? 3-on-4, Syracuse looking to find their way back here. Spike is planted, a great way to start though. Pretz, the Sova player, will be taken down by Knight, this player who has just been gruesome to Syracuse.
Yeah, extreme aggression. We're seeing the same strat. This is the Abyss B strat here. Diffuse coming out. Grifty, I'm sure, knows, but doesn't peek with the gun. And Hayabusa gets Grifty. Now you have to defuse. Stick it. Stick it, Jono.
Oh, not going to, but we'll find it. Oh! You hate to see it.
Yeah, that's timing. It's good timing from Ohio State. They pushed together there, and I don't know if sticking it would have worked, to be honest with you. But, yeah, I mean, you had Astra coming behind. I think that would have been pretty much signed, sealed, and wrapped if you had just stayed there and used a little diffuse thing. I don't know what that is. Anyone know what that is? Is that like a device? The thermometer?
I haven't been full with the lore there, so I'd have to brush up my knowledge. But I mean, you know, this is now where we're seeing the strength of the Astra, right? The post plant, and if that Astra is alive in that post plant, the amount of util you have, right, with those stars, is just endless, right? The stuns, the concussions, the pulls. There's so many things you can do with that Astra, with those stars, and you have to be aware of that as Dez takes down Pretz early here, but the trade is there.
Yep. Not much more you could say than that. Jono just curb stomped Jez, who was flying in the air. The B-hop goes, and like, I don't understand sometimes when you B-hop. Obviously, it's Jet, so you're gonna do it. But it just doesn't go well. You can't peek an entire team while in the air. Your shots aren't gonna go the right way. Doesn't have the ultimate, so it won't work out. Knight is right there. Hayabusa. Oh, okay. Nobody hits a single shot in that excursion. Backing off now. Dapper Waldy gets 2. Good round from Dapper Waldy as Owen is not able to do anything but jump out of the way of that. That's tech for sure. That's.
Yeah, I would have just stood there. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know you could jump over that. But trades on either side. But Ohio State starting to roll, right? It's starting to snowball back into their favor there, right? The Buckeyes finding their way back in. The adaptation has been there. Syracuse, right? You now have to change your play style up, right? They're starting to understand how you want to play. Both these teams going to be able to buy. Syracuse, though, you're forcing this one, right? You have to win this. If you don't, Ohio State is going to be going up against you to make it even on your Thrifty, right? You have to be aware of that. Carson mentioned it earlier, right? One of the M&M of the M&M and M&Ms is going to be the money, and you have to be careful about that.
Yeah, Columbus, probably sunny there for the first time in months with how hot they've looked. It's neither for us. I don't think we've seen the sun in a large amount of days, but hey.
Syracuse, New York, folks.
Whew, same thing in Columbus, honestly. That entire area of the country.
Yeah.
We are covered in clouds. A lot of snow in both places, but they're both hoping to get hot here in this last section of the game. 3 rounds in a row for Ohio State University, responding to 3 rounds in a row from the Syracuse Orange. And we're kind of back to where we were at halftime as the Buckeyes slowly attack point here now. They basically got control of A, but Owen getting one more in that situation. Kind of stuck now backside. Hayabusa uses the ult here, knows where they are, gets 1, almost 2. Grifty able to save the Ohio State push there, which surely would have collapsed under that situation. Grifty planting now. Sees it right there. Can go to the right side. Oh no, Owen peeks at the wrong time. Grifty gets 1 more. That's not the peek you want to make. And Grifty 4. But Jono with the ult peeks. Gets 1. Trying to get another. Gets 3. 3!
Jono!
3! Jono with the clutch.
A beautiful play comes out from Jono there on the jet, stays alive and well. 1 headshot, 2 headshot, and throw all the knives and make sure 1 sticks. And that is going to be a great way for Syracuse here. A timeout being taken for the side as well. So now take a second, right? Beautifully well played round there. Things started to get a little scary. Jono came out and did some wonderful things there as well. But now you're 2 rounds away here. You're in a good spot, right? You have the money again, right? You're not going to be forcing here. You have the guns as well. I believe only a couple died. So, you know, they will be looking to force. But for the most part, Syracuse a little bit more comfortable. But you have to be a little careful here, right? Once again, Ohio State can snowball. I hate to say it, right? But I don't think Syracuse won that round because they played it better. Right, Jono definitely popped off, right? That is what happened. But overall, Ohio State, they had a good plant. They had a good post-plant location there, right? So they were playing it better, but Jono was just able to capitalize. A wonderful duelist player, right? The mechanics, something very strong for the side of Syracuse. We mentioned that when the game started, right? Definitely one of the strongest things with Syracuse is their mechanics, right? So able to find those nice 3 pieces, but you have to be careful when it comes down to this team play.
Yeah, and it comes down at a certain point to just who's hot when. And Jono basically puts the Orange back in a good spot there. You lose that round, it's within 1, and now you're talking about we just lost 4 games in a row. What do we do?
Yeah.
Jono able to step up at a great time, gets the 3K right when the Orange need it. And whoa, that's a lot of red towards that B site. And we're seeing them take the strategy that the Orange have all night. Worked well on the retake earlier for the Orange. They were able, or almost worked well rather. Jet ended down that left side, ended up in a 1v1. Have been pretty even on this site so far, but a slow approach from the Buckeyes who don't want to get too advantageous as there's an op on the side of the Orange. I don't think they know that, though.
Yeah, Jono holding the operator here. Knight not going to peek the corner as the drone will go in here. Syracuse playing very passive, right? You do not want to get cocky. You do not want to get ahead of yourselves. You want to take a step. You want to take a breath, right? You need to bring this one back here so you can bring us to a game 3 and look for that win here. But Syracuse playing patient. They're waiting for Ohio State. You can play with this operator too, right? Jono being patient. The smoke
going to go out, going to put a good spot, but Knight peeks it, but
Ooh.
Jono can't find the connect.
Bad smoke from Astra, just put in the wrong spot. Has to go probably up top there in that situation. But not able to capitalize. Jono has to hit that shot there to give the Orange a man advantage. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because the Orange have abandoned A entirely, thinking it was a full B push, and now they're going to collaborate on the retake. Grifty, the only one left on that A site, just pushed it back the other way. That was a very, very good rotate from Ohio State, who took advantage of the Orange team, who really overcommitted on that right end. Sure, the lesson they don't forget, they peek together, get the trade. Somehow, Hamburger's mowing them down. Okay, so now we have a 2-on-2 situation, just traded on the other end. Owen just clobbered one, has their back turned to the next, though. Able to revive.
Can they get the revive off?
Oh.
Not quite, and Ohio State will take that round. And I mean, it started off good, right? I don't believe they picked up the op, though. Yep, no op picked up the side of Ohio State. But here is the good thing, though, right? Syracuse, you did get a lot of kills there, right? So if we take a look at for the side of Ohio State, right? Couple of these members, a little low on the economy, but Syracuse, very low, right? This is sort of one of that downsides of starting to sort of fall back a little bit. You lost some members in that one fight where Jono popped off, and now you're kind of a little bit further back. You have to play more thrifty here, and Ohio State can be, instead of a 2-round deficit, 1 round away and start to bring themselves back into this game.
This round could be the whole thing, Ryan. Yeah. When you're talking about money momentum, there's certain rounds where you just kind of are forced to lose. I mean, you go out there with revolvers and light shields, and there's not much you can do in a situation like that. When the other team has Vandals, has Operators, they're able to just go on site when they want, and you're forced to play that retake and play those small corridors. And if Ohio State is smart here, they know they're on a thrifty, they're going to go to B site. It's a lot more open. You have the distance. You're going to win at distance. They're playing the mid section right now, trying to get picks because that's, again, the thrifty strategy here. But it's going to come down to how the Orange play this aggressively, and they're not going to. That's the smart move when you're in a situation like this. Now Ohio State's finally going to move towards B, rather, which has the more open site.
Yeah, absolutely right. Play passive. That is sort of what's been going in your favor a little bit here. Is Jono going to look for something? I believe they saw the head, and there it is. Dez is taken down, and they're able to get out alive.
Need those in a round like this. Owen up top with only a classic to their name. Has the ult, though. Going to be curious to see. This is a massive round for the rest of this game. You need to put it towards the right way, and a Pretz ult from all the way in Utica gets Hamburger on the other side. Owen gets Knight on the thrifty. They're doing well, but Grifty gets stopped. Pushing now. Pretz gets one up top with the revolver. Just a beautiful, beautiful defense from Syracuse. One more on the top site there. Dapper Waldy. Stick it, Owens.
Stick!
Oh.
And that's it. Syracuse 1 round away from taking this game here at Carson. Very well played overall here. And now Syracuse going to be able to buy those weapons. I believe except for 1 or 2 of them. I think they're still a little low on the economy for a couple of those players. But overall, right, going to be able to buy some things here. Yep, couple lower buys, right? The Guardian, the Bulldog. Dez doesn't have the ult. Will be able to get that Vandal, though. However, gonna see here for the side of Syracuse, the Operators coming back out.
Yeah, the role for Ohio State would essentially give them the money advantage and would force Syracuse on another thrifty. But if you get a few picks as the Orange, this is not disaster.
Absolutely.
Ohio State, this round is lost. You obviously lose the game. So it's match point. I was going to make a point about how they're going to lose more money, but you're out of money if you lose the game. You actually start with the next game with more money. As Dez opens up the shooting very early. First blood on the side of Ohio State. That is not what the Orange want to see.
Yeah, Ohio State, they went aggressive
they
again.
have B.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to get on site, and now immediately Ohio State, all 5 members alive, going to be able to play the post plant here. Great smokes came in. Hayabusa will be able to find one, but Syracuse, right? You need to find this value. The plant is already down, excuse me, and Ohio State, right, they were playing a little bit more passive. They were debating where they wanted to go, and now full aggressive again. Oh
no. Hayabusa was in the worst spot imaginable, stuck on the rope. Dez gets one. Grifty goes down. Moving the other way, this is the worst case scenario for the Orange. Rolled, and Ohio State has the money they need now, and I'm fairly certain we're not going to be seeing a full buy from everybody on that Orange side. 12-10, still a 2-game lead. Don't count that out just yet. Don't need to full buy here.
Yep.
Go thrifty. I mean, you won last time you were on thrifty. Why not do it again? 2-0 on thrifty, or 2-1 on thrifty on tonight.
Yes.
So Orange have the advantage there, but I mean, in due time with proper experimentation and more tests, you'll find the true, I guess, who's good at Thrifty.
Right. My concern here is, though, Carson, right, Ohio State, they made an adaptation. They played really fast. They went with the aggressive play style. Immediately got on site. They played for the Asher smokes, and immediately the plant got down, and Syracuse was forced to play for that post plant. And I mean, Syracuse right on this Thrifty, a couple Marshals, a couple Guardians. I mean, if you can hit your headshots, great, but if not, then Ohio State's just going to full rush onto a site. But as I say that, they're actually going to play a little bit passive. They're going to fully switch it up on Syracuse as that spike is sitting in spawn until they decide what site they're going to go on to, right? We saw that a lot on Lotus from Ohio State. Worked really well for them. And now Syracuse, right, playing a little bit patient here, looking for something. No util here, though, for the side of Hayabusa. It's all placed down as Ohio State looking like they're going to start to make a decision on what site they want to go to.
Light aggression here, headed towards A. You know, I would say if I'm Ohio State, why not be aggressive? You just rolled the Orange at B site. But, I mean, maybe that's what the Orange are expecting, to see that again. And one goes down to Pretz. Once again, Ohio State's lack of aggression is costing them. Pretz, a great pick there with the revolver. Could be it for the Ohio State if they cannot put this push together. Does not look good as the Orange slowly rotate more and more. They need to be aggressive on this point. Hamburger goes down to Pretz. What a stalwart defense. Dapper Waldy, though, goes down to gets Hayabusa in the other end. Orange now have a 4-3 advantage. Stomp moving towards site with Pretz supporting. A Jet coming down now with the Marshal. Not that too often you see a Marshal in round 23 moving down the other side. They're going to push right together. Owen up top now. Bit of a pincer push. Different angles. Grifty gets stopped. Up top, there's two. They get three in quick succession. Now the Orange on the back foot. Cannot lose this round. This could be disaster for the Orange. So close to a win on match point. Jono. Fate in their hands once again at this this A site with 3 against them. Can't get it done. Hits Grifty once, but goes down in the process. The Orange up 12-11, still have the makings of a win here, but need to put it together.
Yeah, good thing is, though, right, for Syracuse, both teams on that full buy. Stomp going to have to go with the regen shields. Pretz going to have, and Hayabusa going to have to go with those lighter shields. So not full buy, but I'd say, like, you know, 8/9 of a buy. As close as you could possibly get to a full buy is basically what we're looking at here. And, I mean, Ohio State, they haven't had to worry about anything here, so they're going to be able to stay on that full buy as well. Obviously, one more round, right? Money doesn't particularly matter anymore here before we go into overtime. But Syracuse, right? Ohio State made an incredible switch up of their play. A little bit of a miscommunication on that engage, right? With that Cypher trip on that pinch, and they just didn't peak at the same time. And Ohio State was able to find the value. But in speaking of value, Press is able to find one on a Dez.
Dez is a good one to go down early. We mentioned how good the Orange have been when Dez goes down first, along with Knight on the other side. Hayabusa saw that. That's the important part of the Cypher. Saw the entire team peeking and goes, I'm gonna make a business decision, and goes down. Jono loses that fight, unfortunately. Tied up top, gets the shot down. Owen on a disadvantage. Still able to get one. Owen gets two. What a miracle. Pretz and Hayabusa go down. Down to the last few players. Stomp peeks right, trying to get the last one. 4K for Owen in the Syracuse Orange are able to take game 2. Late fashion, we've got game 3.
Holy Carson. That got a little too close for comfort, but if you ask me, hamburgers were not served in the cafeteria today, but oranges were. Syracuse is not out of this one yet. We're going to a game number 3.
I don't think you can eat a Buckeye because I'm pretty sure it's a plant, but just a lovely, lovely decision from the Orange there to stay passive on that defense. They saw how aggressive Ohio State was going. They weren't able to win the last time they went passive, and now they came aggressive, and Ohio State didn't do the right thing. They didn't hit their shots. We saw Owen make a miracle out of nothing up top. That was fate in a certain sense of they could have easily lost that round, and comes down to a certain pixels, comes down to just what decision they make at any given split second. It's got an element of randomness to it, but not like RNG, like what that guy decided to do. But a lot of smart players, and you saw Owen up there. Just Hamburger got blinded and couldn't hit everything on that other section. But we will take just a quick break and have game 3 right back to you very, very soon. Stay by your PC. We've got a tight one coming up. Oh boy, welcome back. Game 3 action. 10:30 at night Eastern time, and we have got plenty of rounds to go. And if it goes to
goes the
overtime, I might
distance.
not make it awake. I might not make it awake, Ryan. We have seen a very improbable comeback from the Orange, who kind of got splintered round 1 and put it back together round 2. When you don't have 3 objectives, it's a little easier to play offense, decide what you want to do. Played better as a team that game. Saw that ultimately. Players showed up in big moments. We saw that almost ace from Pretz. Saw amazing play from Jonah when it mattered. It's going to come down, I think, to those kind of plays. And there's not much more I can say other than there is impact players, and then there are impact plays. And whoever has the more impact plays at the end of this will be the winner. You've got basically a roulette of strategies going on at Ohio State. It seems kind of without reason what's going on, and I'm wondering if that's kind of the strategy, is you just choose your next strategy. You have it already planned out, kind of like how an offensive coordinator plans out his first drive in football. But they have been very methodical about it and nearly took the Orange down, despite having at one point, I believe, a 6-game lead or a 4-game lead.
Yeah,
Fourth round.
You know, there's a lot that goes into this, right? But now lunchtime is over. You gotta finish the day, right? You're in the final stretch here, the final, couple classes, if you will, right? And now you gotta finish it out, right? We're going to bind, right? So, it may be a little cold here, a little cold in Ohio, but it's pretty warm over in Bind. It's a desert area over in Bind. But that is we're going to have to see, right, who stays cool under the pressure in this next matchup. I do want to just point out, last match, right, Pretz on that Sova, 33 and 18. He dropped 30.
Yeah.
33 kills dropped.
I mean, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, he's averaging 40 in that same sense. As this player he's going out there and he put the team on his back though.
Oh yeah.
Greg Jennings. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful setup there from the Orange, and Pretz has just been the right one in the right direction, moving forward and just ironing out the other team when it comes down to it.
Yeah. All right, Carson. Here we go. Syracuse playing the comp we saw last week here on Bind. They won 13-11, I believe, right? Back to the good old-fashioned, right? On the side of Ohio State, right? They're going to opt in for that deadlock Teho instead of the vice Teho. Gecko being hovered. Rather different, right? Instead of that Sky coming out from Syracuse, right? Still hasn't been locked in yet. Still can be changed, but very unlikely we'll see a change there. But if Knight goes to that Gecko, I'm curious to see what happens, especially considering Knight's been on controller all night here. No pun intended, for once.
Fair enough. Yeah, but I'll be mourning by the end of this with how these games have been going.
Very
Hopefully not. But Knight was a force to be reckoned with in some of those clutch moments and teetered off during the end. The Orange shut him down, and that's what they needed to do. They need to shut each and every one of those players down at a certain point. I mean, Hamburger, we even saw, was I believe, the lowest KDA player on the Ohio State side, and still had their moments. They had a 3K that gave Ohio State a crucial round headed down the stretch to turn the tide when the Orange were up 9-5. And like a work week, Ohio State can finish it. They've done a great job. Just ultimately rolling when they need to, and getting back into these games is kind of what Ohio State's done all year. And if the Orange aren't careful, Game 3 will go to waste, and you will only have the only good thing you're going to get out of this is +1 in the round differential slot.
Yeah, but here we go, right? The Gecko locked in for the side of Ohio State. Once again, the biggest difference, we see a mirror except for 2 crucial things. Gecko instead of Sky, and the deadlock instead of the Vice. I'm telling you, Carson, we'll have to see, right? If Syracuse can pull this one out, I will stop ranting about the deadlock Teho over the Vice Teho. I really will, but this is going to be interesting to see. I'm telling you here, Carson, right? This Vice and this Teho compared to this deadlock and this Teho. Very, very different plays and how you're using them. And we're going to have to see how they go about it, right? Obviously, another big difference here is going to be that Gecko, right? Still going to be able to get on site relatively fast, but that also may be where this Vice is going to take a lot more strength.
In Vice is interesting. We haven't seen it anywhere else. No one else really plays Vice, but, I mean, that's a niche you can carve out. There's certain points where Vice is good enough to where you can upend the other team with things they aren't expecting. When you play a character you don't play a lot, sometimes their ultimate doesn't trigger in your head. Like, you're not thinking, Vice has ult, I could lose my main weapon here. I shouldn't be as aggressive. And we saw that happen on the other end.
Sorry.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I mean, this is how you're going to start this aggression. They're going to force him out. It's a trade, and the Orange ultimately lose it as Hamburger able to deal with Swamp. That is a very, very good play from Teo. You see Teo forcing them out, unfortunately. Is that our Teo?
I believe that was their Tejo, and they were able to force them out and find some trades. And in the favor of Ohio State, the drone's going to come out, though, try to find any sort of recon for the team. Won't be able to find anything in that cross, however. And now Syracuse and Ohio State, both these, this is probably the slowest pistol round we've had so far. Very, very relaxed here. However, it does look like we might see the salvo come in. Look for some pressure out over in Lamps, and now Syracuse going to go a little bit aggressive here. However, the tail over the side of Ohio State will miss their util, and Syracuse is clean in Lamps.
Yeah, by an inch there. Owen gets one more, and I'm going to say, you said relaxed. I think I'm anything but. Have to say the thing would be this, or have to be the same way if you're a player in this right now. 3-on-3 left towards the site. Smoke's kind of blocking it off. They're about to end, so we're going to probably see Owen doing a good job staying out there. That's the right decision to make. They jump through the portal. They've swapped the entire setting on its head, and now they're going to have an advantage as they head towards point. They need to look at the door. They're the first ones to sight, and they put down Smoke. Orange side can't get that first shot, but Gecko goes down in the process. Waldy goes down, and Press goes down. Methodical. Orange 1-0.
Syracuse starting off strong here. A beautiful pistol round goes in their favor as they start off bind on the attack here. And we're seeing some good progress here from Syracuse, right? But a lot of rounds of Valorant to go here tonight. Syracuse, the phone comes out, but the aura's not out yet, right? Gotta stay locked in the whole way through here, Carson, as Syracuse going to look to buy a little bit more of the aggressive gun, try to force out Ohio State early in this fight.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, the Syracuse Orange are 1-0 this game when we see them have the phone out. We saw it one singular time.
Maybe that's it. Maybe the phone is how you get it.
Maybe a little doom scrolling could go well in Valorant. I did not think that was something I was going to say today. Anyway, Jonah moving forward, and that's the deadlock there. Just that shut down now. Can't really go through that section. You have to alert the other team you're there. You just get rid of the stealth there if you're Ohio State. Now you know where they are. Now you're going to rotate. And if you notice, there's 3 Ohio State defenders, 4 actually, standing in the A tunnel in lobby. I'm not sure.
We're seeing some interesting things here.
They just all ran into A lobby and then all ran away. They're like a termite colony. They just they have one mind and they play so well as a team, even on defense.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it really well right now. The smoke's going to come in. Hayabusa has some abilities to use. Syracuse playing a little bit patient here, though. An early pick is going to put them in the favor as they fast rotate over on the B site here.
Yeah, these teleports have worked really well for the Orange, it seems. And they're back on site, have control of it. Need to find one more. Shot comes from behind. They're able to see it alive. Rather, nope. Stomp goes down. Waldy with a good defense there to get a pick and run away. It doesn't have a lot of health, but the Ohio State defense is going to rotate. They've been strong so far, but it's going to be different here. This is a different tunnel. B is a very hard site to retake because of how close proximity you are to everyone. And the Orange are taking a very long distance, I guess, approach to it. And down goes one. Hayabusa with that Bulldog. Goodbye on that second round. Hayabusa has 3. Jono trying to get the last one. Peeks right. Can't get him with the Bulldog. But Hayabusa, I think, knows that there's somewhere behind that box. Looking the wrong way. Gonna reload. Don't want to do it with 3 bullets. And this is what you're going to see, the Vice util coming out here.
Here's the flash. Dez, though, gonna just live. The flash comes out. There it is for Hayabusa. Beautiful 4-piece there as Syracuse goes up 2 in this series here. Now going to force the buy on Ohio State.
Cut, dry, and simple for the Orange it is. I don't think you really change it up there. I mean, I don't think obviously you can go to, oh, we're going to go to A. Just kidding, we're teleporting again. Shouldn't do that. But you got to keep it simple in the sense of do something unexpected, or just do the expected. The Ohio State has watched the Orange do a strange strategy twice. I mean, it's not that uncommon, obviously, on bind. But you have to approach it in a new way, and you have to approach it creatively, and the Orange are looking like Picasso, just a new painting, and it's beautiful every time.
Yeah, Picasso, the original artist, started in clay and pottery art, moved into actual paintings. Fun fact there. As Syracuse, they started out a little rough, but started to paint around the edges, polish the edges, and are now 2 up in this series, doing Picasso proud.
Yeah, I don't have any knowledge of artists of the era, but Owen moving quite cleanly and just trying to get this Syracuse offense started with a pick or something here to put it into gear. Orange are running a fairly passive offense. Ohio State with just extreme aggression. Nobody gets shot there, unfortunately, for Ohio State, but now you're stuck in the shower, and this is the most condensed thing I've ever seen, and the last thing I think they want to see is a raise. Dog comes out for Sky. The Orange are all stuck in shower trying to get out of the bathroom as Ohio State disperses onto the point. Buckeyes lose one. Hamburger absolutely clotheslined by Pretz there, who goes down to Dez. One more on the other side. Owen still there, doesn't know that there's one in his smoke. Jono, oh no, goes down to Grifty, despite looking at them directly. I don't think was ready to see them right there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the hard part, right? When you're sort of trapped in that bathroom, Owen will find one, and there it is. The Patience will find another one, and now Knight, the only player left for the side of Ohio State. And just like that, Syracuse, they stayed in the bathroom, but luckily they had the hall pass and will be able to find a beautiful victory there, 3-0.
Citrus are rolling. Have to keep the foot on the gas here. We mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Last night we mentioned it a lot. You obviously didn't hear that. You were currently in, you were on stage.
Yeah.
Go check out the Twitter. Great reaction to that win last night. Hoping to see another overtime win in the final game here. Been very tight play against Ohio State so far. The only one that wasn't, I guess, a close game was the initial game against Ohio State. Who would have guessed? But for Rocket League against Ohio State, Orange won that 3-0. Orange are up 3-0 again on Ohio State.
Looking to take game 3, excuse me. And just like this, right? I mean, one of the good things I'm liking from Syracuse, though, right, is they're sort of just waiting for Ohio State to be aggressive, right? And they're capitalizing on that, right? I mean, Ohio State, you're on the defense. You don't need to be aggressive, but they get antsy, right? The trigger finger, they want to go get that kill, and Syracuse, they're taking advantage of it. They're like, fine, come at us, right? We are going to hold our angles. And that's what they've been doing, right? They're able to find these early picks, and then they're able to just really just speed run onto that point. And we've seen that already a few times here as, like I said, right, up 3. And also Ohio State going to be forced on to a low buy again because they did lose that forced buy. And Recon Drone will find some press.
And he's fairly open other than the presence of Raze, which our Raze is not looking at, but still able to get one more. Pretz gets one. Jono, 2. What a start and what a swing. Disadvantage, still able to get that site pretty easily. The Orange haven't lost anyone. It's a 5-3 advantage. And Ohio State seems to be slipping. They just aren't hitting the shots they need to. And we talked about how the aggression, or the lack of it, cost Ohio State last game. And now, too aggressive initially. Now you're down 3-0. You're doing the same thing again. Jono just gets Hamburger. And doesn't know Grifty's behind, but I don't think Grifty is ready to peek right now. The wrong way, Jono. Just wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately. Grifty has to defuse the next 10 seconds or so if they really want a chance at it. Don't want to get forced down to the Orange. Just playing time here. Not aggressive at all. We're seeing that. Grifty moving back towards that top end site, standing in their own smoke. I don't think it's going to be much of a chance. Grifty able to get one more, but dies to the spike and ultimately loses the round. 4-0 Orange.
Very good job coming out from Syracuse at the moment here. And I mean, if you're Ohio State, right, it's a good pick to start out from, right, because you're able to do a little bit of work as you're able to, I mean, look, right, Pretz falls 450 credits there, 900 for Jono, right? So it does play an aspect into econ here, but I mean, really good job. One thing I do want to mention though, 4 rounds here, I have us a 7-0. Hasn't died once yet, Carson.
Yeah, we mentioned wanting to know what that Vice would look like, and not sure you wanted to compare it to Deadlock. Deadlock has yet to get an ability off that has hit someone, and obviously it's not really for that some of the time, it's for just prevention. But Dapper Waldy gets one more, Jonah goes down, now super aggressive from the Orange. Their facing aggression is the Orange, and they just stifle it once again. We see the phone is, it's just, wow. I mean, Pretz just,
It's the phone. It's the aura.
It could be the aura. They're aura farming in this game right now. Just clip after clip. Owen moving forward, has Hamburger in their sights momentarily, doesn't know, and they catch Hamburger looking the wrong way. It's just bad luck from Ohio State. It's the wrong looks. You're playing one-on-ones when you don't need to, and you're losing instantly. The Orange are in their stride and are hot right now.
Yeah, and now Knight is on such a long rotate here alone. Does have full util, but I mean, if you're Syracuse, right, 45 seconds for that spike to go off, 7 seconds needed to defuse. Syracuse sitting nice and pretty here in a really good spot, as now you're just forcing Knight to walk on to this point. And I mean, if you're Knight, I don't know if I'd really want to contest onto this. I mean, maybe just save that gun. I know you have the econ to buy here, but I mean, you're going 1v4, I believe, so not particularly great. One comes out, Knight's able to find Stomp. The flash is going to be broken. Knight finds another one, but once again, that phone comes out. Jenny got your number. Syracuse 5-0.
Yeah, Orange, just like I said, foot on the gas, are running over Ohio State.
That's the employee of the month right there.
Employee of the month right there. Columbus is just not built for this. It's just a situation where you're struggling to beat this Orange team, which are hot, and you're now finally able to buy after what has been a few rounds for these players, but other players, they just can't buy at certain points, and it's just so hard.
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse, they want to go home tonight, right? I mean, they are in game 3, and they're like, all right, we're tired, and we want to go home, but they are staying locked in, and that is something, you know, I mentioned at the very start of this broadcast here, Carson, is game 3, right? You have played so many rounds of Valorant already. You've played, I believe, 45 or so, right? Give or take a round or two, and now it does come down to being able to stay locked in for one more game. Syracuse is locked right now, and they are ready. I mean, you can see it right now, 5-0. Ohio State struggling to find that sort of difference between that aggression versus that passive play style, and Syracuse capitalizing on every tiny mistake. Bind, definitely a map they are comfortable on. They won it last week, and now they're looking to win it, not only for the map, but for the series here, Carson.
Yeah, and I mean, the Orange are just playing better here. They kind of want it more in the sense of maybe it's exhausting, maybe it's just so late for some of these players right now as Busa gets one more in the form of Hamburger. You might be losing these 1v1s because you're exhausted, and the Orange team has had more late night experience. I mean, this is Ohio State's second game 3 as well. I forgot to note that. Both these teams inexperienced in situations like this. The Orange taking advantage. Jono, disadvantaged spot. Can't see anything. Still able to get one. Dez gets one in that process, though. Orange, oh my gosh, hello! Grifty goes down to Owen. How Jono lived that, I'm not going to even try and figure out, but we got a face full of the team there. Knight, one more, but like last time, last player gets a pick, goes down 6-0 Orange.
I mean, Syracuse is in a great spot right now, not only being 6-0, but one thing I also want to mention here, Carson, is worst case scenario this half, they go even. I mean, that is how well Syracuse has played, is now they are going to go 50-50 at worst case scenario going into the half here. Obviously now Syracuse gets to run away with this, and they're on the attacking side as well. Such a good job already, right? And they're being unique, right? We've seen it on B, we've seen it on A. They're making switch ups, they're capitalizing on Ohio State, they're winning their ones. They don't really have to find the trades because Ohio State just can't win these ones right now, and Syracuse is in such a good spot using this util as needed. Stomp on this guy has been doing such an incredible job as well, just opening it up with the dog, right, with the wolf, and now if you're Syracuse, right, here it is again, gonna go in, looks around, and already Syracuse goes in, and here comes the showstopper, and down!
Just beautiful, right on that. You cannot do that any better for the terms of Syracuse. That's a rocket jump. That's getting maximum util out of it with only one on site. I don't think they knew that. But a massive space taking here. And you're seeing why she used that ult maybe now. They've completely swapped the other side, but great prediction by Ohio State. They know that they're not there. They move over, but now they need to get a pick. They have the advantage before they plant. Now they're stuck on that retake, which they've had so good beforehand. But here comes the Vice ult as well as, the orbital beam. Wow.
I mean, Grifty with a beautiful ult there in lamps, able to find a few. The lights go out, and I mean, Ohio State able to find one there. But if you're Syracuse, it's not like you lost your money momentum. One of those M&Ms is still in your favor there, right? The mental momentum, pretty much in your favor too here, right? You're in a good spot, but with this money, right, you're okay right now. You're in a good spot. And timeout early.
Fuck 'em.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where Ohio State's timeout was. I mean, you're down 6-1.
You're not getting any more.
6-0 at a point. I think you would take that timeout earlier, but they finally got that round one, and the Orange are going, hey, we just lost a round. Let's calm down. We had a 6-0 run. Let's approach this in a new way. What are we going to do at this point? How are we going to approach this point? Orange have a lot of things they can do here. Can keep playing the same way. can show Ohio State a new look. You're up in a major way right now, but the important thing is to not take your foot off the gas. You
Yes.
have to keep the throttle on Ohio State here. You cannot let them back in this game. You're up 6 at a point. You need this. This is going to stifle a hot Ohio State team.
Yep.
The Buckeyes believe, have not lost a round since last year in the PEC.
Yeah.
Won 2-0 last week. Not 2-0 this week, I'll tell you that. We're at 1-1 with plenty of game to go still, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State makes a run here. Maybe brings it back to 4-7. It'll go down to just how can the Orange play this? And how can the Orange keep Ohio State down? They've gone on runs before. The Orange really do feel like a team that wins a bunch in a row or loses a bunch in a row at times.
Yeah, I mean, in game 1, we saw that, right? I mean, Ohio State had that lead. They went on that run in Syracuse. They had a couple runs, but they just weren't able to find their way back to that even point. I mean, game 2, however, right, you look at that, and Syracuse, they went on that run. Ohio State is falling behind. They couldn't quite find that value either, right? They were looking for it, but their run could not match Syracuse's. So now we're here, right? Syracuse starting off a beautiful run here going forward. And now Ohio State has to look to bring it back in their favor, right? Start to even it back up, but something we haven't seen either of these teams able to do to even that series back up. And, I mean, if you're Syracuse, right, you're up 5 rounds, but you cannot falter.
This is finally the right call from Ohio State. They've been guessing, unfortunately. 4 on A at certain times, and you're leaving 1 on B. You just kind of have disadvantage no matter what. You're going to be forced to retake. But this is good for Ohio State. They finally found themselves in a defensive spot that's going to work. But it's up to the Orange here to try and beat them at this point. Has to just get the picks, just going one-on-one. Slowly and methodical. The Vice comes out here. They're going to play patiently, and that's what the Orange have been doing all game. Almost no aggression from the side of the Orange, and we're seeing Hamburger cave to those aggressive urges, whether they've been passive or not. They really need to stay passive. Ohio State does not need to peek these, and it works out there for Dez, and that's what Ohio State is going for. They want those big momentum-changing picks. They want to catch the Orange on their heels when they're not ready. Stomp, stuck, and shower with Raze. That's where the spike is for the Orange. Moving forward now, they're about to hit sight.
Yeah, Stomp now going to look for the plan. We are going to see Tejo Util go in from the side of Ohio State. Pretz is able to find Dapper on that deadlock here. Trades, though, in the favor of Ohio State. They're just ping-ponging back and forth with these kills. Syracuse now, it's a 1-on-3, I believe, and won't be able to find it. Ohio State, they're starting to bring themselves back here. A good win. I believe Syracuse has one more full buy in their econ before they're forced onto a thrifty here, Carson. I mean, 2 rounds for Ohio State. It's nothing to be worried about. However, it is something to just sort of put a cautionary tale.
And this is when you pull out your phone and you say we got to lock in, and you have to do everything in that sense and just be a little bit better. Be better than Ohio State at this point. You played so much better. You have to go into this mindset understanding not overconfidence, but understanding you are the better team. You have to look at it like that. You just beat them 6-0. So you, in your mind, you have to think you're the better team. And that confidence is going to be huge. On that other end, it's going to just be everything for the Orange. And you cannot lose confidence at this point. 6-2 is such a big lead, and they need to it's hammer time if you're an F1 fan.
I was thinking a little bit of a different hammer time, you know, MC Hammer, but, you know, I'll take it, right? F1, MC Hammer, same deal, hammer time for Syracuse. 4 up right now, still on that bye. Syracuse going to look to be a little bit more aggressive as we see Jono gets immediately over to Lamps here. No one's going to look on that contest against them at the moment, and as we see this going forward here, Syracuse 4 up. Pretz going to walk through the teleporter and look for something, but no one's going to peek it early.
Yeah, and the reason I wouldn't say MC Hammer is because you don't want the Orange to stop. Jono, facing some aggression, knocks down Knight. Goes straight to bed there on that other end. Ooh, unfortunate. Doesn't have the gun back out as they peek outside. Jono goes down. It's going to be an overall trade. And stuff going well for Ohio State, but that aggression paying off again. They live and die by those one-on-one peaks where the Orange are not expecting to see another member of the team at an unexpected point. They thrive on this aggression. But I don't think Ohio State is fully aware of where the Orange are right now.
30 seconds
Yeah, we
left.
approach 30 seconds here for Syracuse on the attacking side. Once again, I've said it a few times here, 4 seconds required to plant here. Only 1 member on B side at the moment. Syracuse still playing a little slow though, right? They don't want to get too aggressive, but it's giving time for Ohio State to get over onto site. Dez will bring out the showstopper. Won't find a connect though as Stomp's going to look for the plant here. Will get hit by the Teo ult, but will survive.
Yeah, just slightly off to the right of it. Hamburger, unfortunately, caught in that ult. Oh, or rather, Hamburger gets that ult off and catches Stop. Brett's one more. Dapper gets the 3K. Ooh, Orange really struggling now. They've not had that edge they've had earlier. Ohio State is now back in it in the sense of they are motivated. They're not missing out on their shots. They are pushing the right direction, and they are doing just exactly what they need to do in this sense. And honestly, if I'm Ohio State right now, I'm feeling good despite being down 3 at this point. You've just cut that lead entirely in half. You can still equalize by halftime, but the Orange need a few round wins here. Maybe try and go 2-1 at the end of the half right here. I would put you up 8-4, which again just puts you in a better position. Yeah. Defense is especially hard on this map though sometimes, depending on the angles. It's I mean, like on B side, you're shooting all the way from Albany sometimes from that hallway, and back towards CT, you're playing it on downhill, shooting at someone who is literally 50 meters away, or you peek the corner around the turn and there's someone 2 meters from you and have just run you over with a judge. It's a tough situation, and you have to play it properly. And the Orange have been playing very conservatively. I'd like to see some aggression here.
Yeah, and here we go. Here is, you know, Syracuse. I was a little incorrect, right? They have the econ right for this final round here. So this is the crucial one for Syracuse to keep themselves in that money momentum state here. As if they lose this, they're going to be going up against the Syracuse close here, but we are going to see 2 members over on A site. Syracuse is going to go fast on a B here and find a trade.
Well, we have a Panini press there from Ohio State. They make too much noise, and Jono's able to capitalize on it. They see both just through the ears, rather, echolocation, if you will. Just a good job by Jono, getting the job done with the classic. Now the Orange have a 5-3 advantage, pushing towards site. Pret's going to throw it down, and the Orange are now taking bigger control. You see that close angle here. Can't get anyone with the Phantom. Long peek for Jono, staying down that right side. They're not going to get too aggressive. They know Ohio State thrives on that aggression. They're going to try and combat it here. Bit of a counter. Right side, Pretz doesn't get one, but Knight is able to get 3 in that scenario. Oh my goodness, what a clutch from Knight, who has shown up in all of these big moments.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I hate to say it, but that's the round that is probably the most crucial for Syracuse here, Carson, because now they are going to be low on that economy, right? If my math is correct. I could be wrong, but okay. Take a look here. Only a couple members able to buy those full rifles. Couple Vandals on the field here. Pret's going to be buying the Sheriff as well as Hayabusa, and we're going to see Stomp still figuring out what they want to buy here. Looks like they're just going to go with the Sheriff. A Bulldog switch comes in. Syracuse on this sort of thriftier buy here. Got to be careful, right? Because if you lose this, then you're basically going to go with a final full buy battle going to the half. And, you know, I said worst case scenario is 6-6. Doesn't mean it's really what you want, though.
Because you just gave up 6 rounds in a row to Ohio State. Now you got to switch sides and relive that experience, unfortunately, if you're the Orange. But Ohio State is a very good team, and I mean, they're making that case to you right now. Dapper Waldy just, I mean, that's, I can't even, they all go into a close corridor. Dapper Waldy, they're all lined up and just has to hold M1 for a few moments. Dez gets Pretz in that other end. That is just really tough if you're the Orange here. Down 5-1 now. Have no advantage, just trying to get a pick here on the econ round. But Dez, jump, skip, and shoots Hayabusa in the head. Down go the Orange. It's 5-6. They really need this for momentum. Probably maybe wouldn't be, I guess, too bad. There might be an early timeout for the Orange, I would see. At this point, you're losing a lot of momentum, and look at those round scores. That is not a thing you normally see, man.
Yeah, it really isn't. You know, you think about, like, the very competitive rosters, right? But this is also, you know, where that sort of fall of, you know, you're getting tired. You've played so many rounds. I mean, these teams are so close together, right? It was 13-7. That's 20 rounds there. And then Syracuse won 13-11, right? So that's another 24 rounds played. So in total, you have played 44 rounds on top of 50-55. You're on your 56th round. Quick math there from me. And, you know, if you're Syracuse, right, or Ohio State, you're so exhausted at this point that you have to stay locked in as the trades are coming out, as well as a showstopper for Jonah.
And Jonah's going to have to just use it there. I couldn't get anybody. Teammates really cleaned up sight in a major way. Now they back off, have spiked down. They've been here before, and they were here last round in the line before that. Knight was able to just shut them down on Gecko, but Knight is already down. No plague there, right, for the Orange, who have just been nothing against that situation. For Mateos, Alt does nothing for the side of Well, guys, as Owen gets his third right there, Hamburger, it's a trade. Locked in that tight corridor. Molotov here going to be big. On site, it is able to get on the bomb. Orange are playing really conservatively here. Do not want to find somebody in the wrong spot. Dez and Grifty. Dez rolls over Stomp and Shower. Now it's a 2-on-2. Equal machinery. Back there on the other side, and Pretz and Owen peak at the right time. The Orange back on the right foot as they head towards the second half.
Carson, this is what I was kind of saying, when you're in this situation, or we've seen this situation before, right? Game 1, Syracuse is behind, and they had a good run, but they couldn't quite make it even, right? Game 2, Syracuse on a very good run. Ohio State starts on their run, couldn't quite make it even, falls short just by a couple rounds. So, very similar spot here, right? Syracuse on their run, starts in the lead there by a few rounds. Ohio State has a beautiful run, right? Starts to run forward, but can't quite match it at a couple round deficit as we switch sides here. So Syracuse, not the worst case scenario, but probably not one you're comfortable with either, right? So got to be careful here, but you're Syracuse, right? Now you're on this defensive side. Get to play a little bit more for a passive play, and Ohio State, they get to play to their aggressive play style. They get to play the way they want to, but if they can't win these ones like they've been struggling to do, Syracuse could be in a good spot.
Talk about a split push, and that sounded like a synopsis of last night, to be honest with you, all in one little I guess picture of the game here. Ohio State stifled in a reverse sweep attempt last night. The Orange won 3-2 with I guess the Overwatch team on the left side. Trying to go right here. Oh my goodness.
Wow. How low is Dapper?
One, the answer. There's your answer. One, Dez and Dapper trying to move forward against that other side at A. They're very low in health and not aggressive at all in the pistol round of Ohio State. Grifty not able to hit a shot, but neither is Hayabusa. Orange going aggressive. They trade. Now it's 4-4, trying to move towards the other side. Orange have cornered themselves. Jono gets one more. Ghost is picked up by Hayabusa, who's trying to get anything. Nobody can hit a shot in this tight corridor. Stomp. Right click on Dapper Waldy, just annihilates them in one shot. Triple headshot, luckily for them. Jono and Hayabusa get one, but Hamburger gets Jono in the process. We've got one on the backside. Just trying to deal with the tombstone there. The molly goes away, and down goes Grifty. That was not where you got like led into a trap in the Orange. That like doesn't happen. I mean, you were in like the Star Wars trash compactor. I don't know how you get to that situation, but they got out. I'll tell you what. Really a conservative pistol round from Ohio State, who somehow lead the Orange together in a tight corridor and can't get it done. And they go up 8-5, and we're seeing a pretty close matchup to what we saw last game.
Trapped in the trash corridor, but Carson, never tell me the odds. As a beautiful, beautiful round is taken out by Syracuse there. 3-round in the lead once more here. But once again, don't let Ohio State run on these runs. That is something you have to be careful of, because once they do, they can start to make it even. We haven't seen it yet this series from either team, but it could be dangerous. Syracuse playing a little bit more aggressive, I also want to say, right? They're pushing a lot further forward, and Ohio State a little bit further back.
Yeah, just really, really light on the push from Ohio State. Dapper Waldy throws it out. Oh no, that is a bad situation for Jono. Stuck there, but able to get a trade away. Gets the deadlock in the process. Owen, rather, was there while Jono could not move. Stuck in the trap. Unfortunately, it's the first util I think we've seen on our perspective for the deadlock. The Orange just waiting out the teleporter. Knight, I would have backed up if I was them. That is a tough spot to be in.
Oh.
There's a flash. Knight gets one more, as he's known to do. Just a beautiful situation for the Ohio State player there.
Can we please stop peeking Knight one by one? I mean, like, it has
Or
been...
at all. Like,
Or at all, yeah.
As a team, too, it's not been great. It's been better, but...
Knight is one of these players that are just mechanical, just prodigies, right? You have to be careful when going up against them, and we've seen it before, right? Knight hasn't been at the top of the leaderboard, I believe, at all tonight, but is one of those players that you still have to respect, right? You have to respect all these players. I know it's late, I know it's tiring, but you have to stay locked in mentally. You have to get through the game, right? You got to respect it as Knight has a stinger and will pick up 3 here, Carson.
Yeah, I mean, they have just a well-oiled machine at Ohio State, and down 6-0, they're still fighting, and almost are back. Dez, Owen, it's the shortest lead of the night for the Orange after that 6-0 run, down to 8-6. Ohio State has matched that run initially, but like I mentioned, early timeout was going to happen. Dez is a good is the biggest piece of that. You see Dez show up most in the KDA, but I don't think you see how much Knight has showed up. And maybe it's just those moments. Maybe it's just those moments where Dez is great in those 1v1s. Maybe not those team fights necessarily, because we've seen Dez go down very early some games. And it's kind of go big or go home for that player there, but Ohio State has those players. They have the impacts, but it's kind of up to them. Can they make those impact plays? And Syracuse just not able to deal with Knight in that situation is a very, very tough thing to do. You have 9-6 there. You really could have had 9-6 there, or 9-5 there. Apologies. But
Yeah,
we're seeing a replay. We're going to get back to 8-8 at this point, it feels like.
Yeah, and that's scary, right? We haven't seen them really even outside of the halves yet, so it's going to be interesting to see. And I mean, Carson, look at the kills right now, right? 12-8, 11-9, 13-12, 12-11, 4-11, 2-9. I mean, these teams are almost equal. 10-8, 11-9, 10-9, 9-11. I mean, these players all over are within 1 or 2 kills of each other. I mean, it is so close, so even. These trades are happening because these fights are getting so chaotic, and I mean, it really is just a matter of who can win in the cat fight. I mean,
and it comes down to certain points. I mean, Ohio State has had a controller every single game bottom frag, and and they have been showing up in massive ways.
Yeah.
We saw the ult from Thrifty. On the other side, who's doing a great job as Jono swings and scores. Oh my goodness, home run. Dapper Waldy goes down in 2 shots. As Jono, healed up a little bit by Sky, is going to just pinch that A site. They're very aggressive. There's 2 in showers they don't know of, and honestly, an interesting swing there is they kind of play Scooby-Doo. Just go this way, that way, hiding behind the pillar almost.
now with this, right, Ohio State down 1 already here. Syracuse, I like how they're playing, right? They are a bunch, right? They're staying together for the most part, right? We've seen some of that, sometimes that falters, right? But for the most part, they're going together, right? But oh, we're seeing a wraparound. Right now, Syracuse is going one direction while Ohio State is going the other, but it may look like they're actually going to go over to B, which is currently where Vice is alone. Syracuse playing quiet. They're just going to wait for that intel to decide whether or not they're going to move. They may go for a full team portal around if they start going over to B, which could be a bloodbath here in a second, Carson.
Yeah, I think you're about to just see like a lawnmower situation. I mean, it depends. They're standing right on that other side. They've gone to the left side, so the Orange can safely teleport, but they won't. They'll rotate. Ohio State, with 15 seconds, gives them so much time to even mount a defense. Ohio State down 6-8, has 5 pushing here. They're going to get plant down, but the Orange have been able to mount a defense. There's everyone flash with a frenzy. Goes off on a frenzy. Damage everywhere. 4 kills in a matter of seconds. The Orange, what a defense!
Carson, I mean, things got quiet. Not hectic, but quiet there for a second, right until very last second. I mean, we've seen that so many times from Ohio State tonight, Carson. I mean, they are waiting until 20 seconds, 15 seconds, and then bang, they go on the site, right? And Syracuse, they've gone into it more than a few times now. They're like, all right, fine. You want to throw all your util in the last 15 seconds? We'll let you, right? One flash, Carson, and that ruined the entire push for Ohio State.
I don't think I've seen that many, like, I've never seen a frenzy just have such an opportunity. You peek there, you've got three opponents on the other team just blind, and you've got a frenzy. And to his credit, he got a kill with a frenzy, which even while the guy can't see, it's pretty hard to do. That gun doesn't really respond to anything. There's no rhyme or reason. It just kind of shoots bullets in a direction. And whether it's the direction you want to shoot, it's not really your choice. But they did get one, got massive damage all over that Ohio State team, got an assist on every single kill there, despite going down. But hey, I mean, that works. That's a great thrifty round for the Orange, who are now up 9-6 with an advantage, but they haven't really bought guns for some of them. Stomp here with that little MP5.
Yep, Syracuse here.
Spectre, goodness.
Three rounds in the lead, 6-9. Ohio State at the disadvantage. Syracuse, once again, playing passive. They're waiting for frankly, Carson, we've seen 3 games tonight. We're on game 3. I'm liking the way Syracuse is playing, right? They're like, all right, you know what? We'll play patient, right? We don't need to play aggressive. We don't need to be all chaotic and all over the place. We saw that, I think, in round, 1, and that's when everyone was in that tiny hallway, and it just went crazy, right? We don't have to see that. Syracuse playing a little bit more passive, but Des will find 2 to start this off.
Stomp gets one there, but unfortunately just goes blind to Gecko there. Hamburger gets stomp in that situation. Now the Orange, condensed push here. They're going to go together, which is tough on B. You've got one peeking long, one peeking short. Gecko has the ability here to make a massive decision. Des, in a bit of a tough spot here. That grenade's going to hit them right in the back. They are able to live on that other side. I think they know exactly where the Orange are going to come from. They've got 2 angles on it. But not expecting this one. Bang! Gets 3, including themselves. Jono, unconventional.
Unconventional, but oh, Pretz peeks into 2. And Ohio State, once again, down 2 rounds here. But Carson, this is what I was saying, right? We see this. Syracuse, they were down. They go on some good runs, but at the end of the day, they couldn't make it even, right? Game 2, Ohio State, Syracuse, we're up. Ohio State goes on some good runs, can't make it even, right? Once again, Syracuse, they had a good run. They're in the lead. Ohio State, they're making some good comebacks, but they can't quite make it even. I think for the past 3 games, the closest we have seen has been this 2-round deficit, right? Both these teams have been in a 2-round deficit and just can't make it one or even outside of that halftime range. And I mean, this is where it comes down to, right? Mentally for Ohio State, I know in the back of your head you've got to be thinking that. It's right? It's like last round we couldn't find the value. We couldn't get those 2 more rounds, and now you have to get them, right? If you want to make it even. But Syracuse maybe feel a little comfortable here.
Hey, remember that joke I made about overtime at the start of this game?
Yeah,
it's looking like a reality. Up 6-0. It's not what you I think would have expected from either team here. But, I mean, you've got an opportunity to shut them down here if you're the Orange. You're not on the Thrifty. It's 7-9. You had the advantage. Now you don't. You didn't lose you didn't lose 2 rounds in a row. You have the advantage. You have the bye. Calm down. Get into the head zone. They're playing conservatively. You just don't have to push. Let them play into your hand. Let them play into your angles and hope your angles are right. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can do is respond to what they're doing on defense. And when they're going aggressive as they have been, it's tough to see them go as passive as this and not feel like you need to go do something about it.
Yeah, very, very true, right? And now, right, Syracuse still looking to play a little bit more passive on these sites, waiting for Ohio State to get aggressive. And here it goes, right? Ohio State onto the site. The Armageddon views for the side of Ohio State, but it looks like it's even at the moment.
Yeah, Molly catches Dapper Waldy in the wrong spot there. Pretz sees one on the left, one on the right. If they trade somehow, Grifty goes down in that secession. Hamburger gets 1 more, looking for a trade, but they can't get it. Dez gets 3, and the Orange lose round 17.
I mean, this is the closest that you can get here. 1 round, right? 1 round deficit here. This match could not be any closer for a game 3.
And I want to say just a massive thank you to everybody who's still watching, A, or still in the facility. B, Shine has technically closed at this point, but it is so late that we have got people in there just still watching, still supporting our Orange. And if you're curious to how late it's getting, the West Coast basketball game just started. It's 11:15 here. The Orange are taking on Stanford in men's basketball, and that just started. So I'll have something to watch at least when I get home if this game doesn't go as long as it's looking to be. Ohio State looking to equalize. Very aggressive push towards A. Rays moving forward, jumps right in, as up top. Looks the wrong way, though. Hayabusa can't hit the shot. It goes down. Dez, that's the problem with a Thrifty. You don't have the tools that the other team does.
Can't be missing those. Those are the picks that you need to have. And that is going to give Ohio State full site control here now. I believe it's only going to be, a 4-on-5 as Syracuse is down 1. The stealth drone goes in, isn't able to find anyone, but Jono won't be able to peek through as Dapper is able to find 1. The trade is there, but they have to break this wall. The spike is down here, Carson. Syracuse needs to find their opening, or it's going to be even 9-9.
Even is not what I think this Orange team wants. It hasn't even ended up even so far in these last 2 games at this late in the point. Ohio State is really turning the tide of momentum. Hamburger gets Owen there. Flash coming out from Sky. Gets 2, able to capitalize on 1. 2 left for the Orange. Down, almost equalized. Now it's a 2-on-1. There's not enough time on the spike. Doesn't hit the teleport, and unfortunately Stomp goes down 9-9. We're all even in round 19.
I mean, this is the closest we have seen this game get, Carson, right? Outside of those halves, right? I know those halves, you know, people may be thinking, oh, you know, it's been 6-6 on the half twice now. Yeah, okay. You know, but here's the thing, right? Is the closest that these teams have been outside of those runs, right? It is now fully even, and I believe, I could be wrong. I looked away for a second there. Both teams on that bye, right? And now with this, between these two rosters, right, decisions need to be made. Changes need to be made, especially for Syracuse, right? Ohio State, they've been really good on this post plant. They've been really good on using that util, finding someone early, like we were seeing back on Lotus. Syracuse needs to get back into that flow state, get back into that understanding of this post plant side from Ohio State.
When you go to Sin City, these are the moments you're going to remember. These kinds of games against Ohio State when you're on stage out there trying to remember how to play in situations that are as tense as this. Jono, this is a bit of a different look and a bit of an ambush here. Jono gets Dapper Waldy in the shower section there. We pushed pretty hard onto A, but the Orange have gone on an aggressive look. An ambush look, if you will. I just said that. But Combat Stim going out for the Orange. They're going to scout with that drone. Goes down to the Raise ult, so they at least know there's a Raise in proximity. The entire Buckeye team right there, the Orange, looking to just end this pacifism on the right side. Left. Peeks. Jono gets one behind, doesn't see him, but the teammate able to help and take some damage off there. Owen gets their teammate. The ability to defuse is there, but the diffuser goes down to a grenade. Owen still stuck in the molly.
When
No
he gets
Buckeyes
stick, it
left.
can be stuck! The stick is there, the volley not able to connect, and Syracuse is going to be able to find that defuse. The molly was so close to being able to stop that spike defusal, but just a little bit, just enough to have Brim's feet just inside of that defusal location, able to find it, and Syracuse back up in the lead. Both these teams full buys here. One thing to note though, right? Both these teams in risky spots. Look at their economy, right? A couple of these players in the hundreds, meaning whoever loses this round is going to be at a deficit, and that could be crucial. This round, Carson, could be the make or break for this game.
Yeah, and we talked about money momentum. We have. It's called economy, either way. Money momentum sounds way more fun. But
Sure.
the Orange might live and die by this round if they can't find the one after it, because you're not going to have any money if you lose right here, but this is a good pick by Jono. Pretz gets one more hamburger on the trade with the ult. Luckily, Jono got one before they went down, seeing that ult situation. Not sure how Pretz avoided it. Just a stroke of luck. Two hostiles detected, knows they're there. Hamburger gets one more with that ability. We're now all even, but here comes the ult from Pretz.
Primary's down. For anyone hit by that, it looks like Ohio State did decide to go through that portal. The shear has been triggered. They know a location here. It does look like we're going to see still one on A side, but you're going to see the Tejo for the side of Syracuse here on the flank. Looks for someone, finds one. Now needs to look for more as a 3-on-2 in favor of Syracuse.
Pretz stuck in that tunnel down sight. Hamburger up top. Down goes Stomp, but the spike is down. The spike is down towards, I think it's T side. That is a great pick by Pretz. There was someone lurking on A the entire time, by the way. Ohio State's Teo is still on A site. He never left. He stood there somehow using the pillar to their advantage to hide away from that Orange side. Peeking now. Hayabusa is able to get it. 11-9 Orange. 2 away from a win. 2 away from Ohio State right now.
Syracuse, great. The Auraphone comes back out once more, as now Syracuse gonna go Jono. Okay, I saw the operator teased for a second there. I thought the op was going to be bot. And now Ohio State, right, they are forcing themselves into... It looks like they're trying to buy this one out. This could be great for Syracuse, right? If they win this, Ohio State is forced with no economy with 1 round left, forcing a thrifty Ohio State. They're going to try to force this. They're going to look to win this. They're feeling confident enough in themselves. Mateo not going to find any connection, but will clear out showers to the side of Ohio State.
Yeah, at this point, the Orange are looking to put this game to bed so they can go to bed. 11-9. You have the money momentum, essentially, if you win. Ohio State's been great on thrifties, though. They've come out with aggression, which we have not seen this defensive side. This Ohio State team is playing a completely different way. They have now just let Syracuse become aggressive and become, I guess, Ohio State the way they were on defense. And it's an interesting situation now because the Orange don't know what Ohio State's going to do. They are just sitting back there. The Orange are going to have to sit and wait and let them decide. But we see how aggression has paid off for the Orange. And I'm curious here. Stomp sees 2 coming towards the A site, or rather towards the B site. Spike is headed towards B, and I'm sure we'll see some noise at A to try and get the Orange to rotate out of there. Stomp. Good angle, though. ADS.
Could be big here, Carson. Not able to find it, though, as Knight now knows Stomp is on point here. The flash available for Stomp if needed, but now Ohio State, it's going to be up to them to decide if they want to flank back over to A side here.
Syracuse knows what's going on here. They're not sure. They've got one in CT. They're going to keep one towards B. They're going to tell Teo, hey, go back to A. We're not quite sure yet. Orange don't know, but it is going to be an A push, a massive A push. You've got all noise, loud aggression. You'll see everyone start coming over, but still, deadlock on the other side. One more. Just a good situation for Owen. If he can find a pick there, Pretz does it for him. On the other side, Owen goes down, but Pretz able to get 3. That's a 3K for the captain. Moving towards that right side. Stop! Puts it down. 12-9. It's match point.
Syracuse, a beautiful spot. Pretz with a 4-piece to put them at match point, at game point here for this round. And it's going to look like, right, you see a lot of regen shields here. Dapper Waldy not going to be able to buy a shield, right? This is it for Ohio State. The buy is in. And Syracuse, they're in a good spot right now. And Ohio State, right, they need to find this value, but Syracuse, they want to end this one out. They have forced the buy-in for Ohio State, something that you're going to see in Sin City, and Syracuse wants to be the one on top when they get there.
Yeah, try as hard as you might right now if you're Ohio State. You just don't have the equipment here. And this is a big ult. Jono gets one, but can't see anything. And going down is the Rays on the other side. Owen saves their teammate there, but Jono goes down to Grifty. Pretz not sure where Grifty is. Sees him up top in the smoke. Dapper Waddy, they're going to come to blows in the smoke, and Owen goes down. Grifty gets Pretz back to even. Moving right, Grifty. Oh, that is a tough situation there. Has to throw down, has to back up. He's going to let them wait for the teammate, though. 2-3 advantage for Ohio State with the game on the line.
The spike is down as well here. The dog going to come out full util for the initiator on Stomp for Syracuse. Going to look into Lamps here, does find one. And this could be yet an early pick here from Hayabusa. Could be the win here. Remember, the spike is down, though. Goes to try to find the slow, but can't quite find it. But the Tejo util gonna force them out.
That's really rough. Stomp. 1v3 here. I think gonna just back up.
Yep.
You know the economy's not in a great state. They're going to back up. Let's take a breath here. We're not going to lose. Ohio State's going to be good on Thrifty again. They have been just excellent in these situations. They forced a bye, of course, but Ohio State, they got exactly what they needed.
Oh, no.
I think Stomp just heard Hamburger and is just going to run away very, very smartly. Take a pot shot, go, I actually don't want to do any of that. And saves the money there. Orange not going to be able to full buy here. Well, everyone except Owen, unfortunately. And I'm going to go ahead and look at it. Jono is 20-19-4, which means he has died every single round but 3. But it's still top fragging. So, I mean, how's that for a trade? Always trading, it feels like.
Very
but
true.
10-12. Sacrificed their life in the middle of their ult earlier. I mean, this is a interesting situation if you're Ohio State. How do you approach this, Ryan?
Well, if you're Syracuse, obviously you don't want to lose this because then you'll be on that Thrifty here. But if you're Ohio State, you want to play just the way you've been playing here. We'll see what Syracuse does.
And this is an aggressive B push. This is the first time I think I've seen every single Ohio State player be at the same objective at the same time in this game. They've played really well as a team before. They haven't really done it in a long time on offense. Since last game, was really the last time we saw it, but they've been going for a more split push option here, which is leaving 2 orange defenders. They're going for it all. Home run swing, like you mentioned. Dez, right side, not able to go down. Hayabusa and Pretz get one. One more for the orange. 4 on 1. And Hayabusa with the 3K.
Let's fucking go.
Good night. Your orange win 2-1 against Ohio State.
Syracuse brings us the distance there as we had a 13-7 loss in game 1. That's 20 rounds. 13-11 games. That is another 44 rounds. And then finishing it off with 67 rounds played. But at the end of the day, Syracuse comes out on top. Some beautiful plays. Pretz 19-15-8, Jono 20-19-4, but at the end of the day, Syracuse brings it out, bringing not only the Valorant team to a good position here, but Syracuse as a whole goes 3 and undecided as a program this week.
Just great to get a win, first off, for an overall program against Ohio State, who have been good all PEC season. We've seen a bunch of teams who are maybe not top table go to these top table teams and knock them down. You saw your Overwatch team did last night. Valorant just did tonight. This is big for a team. Just shut down a hot team. And now their win streak has moved up to 2, 5-4 on the season, finally back over 500 like they were at week 4 last season. But you want to talk about endurance?
That's it.
That's it right there. I mean, you you outlast Ohio State in a 13-10 round after going, I think 13-11 last game, and when that was coming down to an end, I was like, oh, finally, and I was like, I have another full match to cast.
Yep.
And 24 rounds later, the Orange have done it. And this,
Yeah, I mean, that was 3 hours of Valorant gameplay for our team here and for Ohio State. Credit to both teams, right? Being able to play that much and just keep the endurance through. But at the end of the day, Syracuse stronger. All that oranges, I believe that's vitamin C. I don't actually know. I can tell you what Picasso used to be, but I can't tell you the right vitamin. But that's not the point. Syracuse, a great way for Valorant to go about this week. Gonna continue their hot streak next week as they go up against probably the powerhouse of this division, Boise State.
your final time is 11:28 p.m. Way too late at certain points of this game, but I was here for all of it. I loved it, and I have to say thank you to the lovely viewer, everybody who stayed and shined. We really appreciate you, and thank you so much for watching through this amazing matchup. And you know, the Orange, guys on stage couldn't go home without a win, so that's exactly what we did. But I've been Carson Cass, my co-caster Ryan Blankenhorn. Did it right this time. Thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely night.